got a load?
It's got a big, wide
5,
load.
4.
He's giving us the
3,
countdown, but I can tell that we're already on.
We're already on. He's giving the countdown.
All right, we are live on a
happened.
second edition of our televised verbal ejaculation with the lights that are pointed at the wall.
It's like, wow.
Wow, this is fantastic.
It's high quality.
So this morning, Matt Connerton had the inaugural Sunday morning edition of Matt Connerton Unleashed, which I was fortunate enough to listen to while I was still in Woodstock, Georgia this morning. So Matt, congratulations.
Thank
It sounded
you.
Great.
Thank you very much.
How's
Thank
the
you.
space? How's the new space?
It's really nice. We're now at Styling Souls, which is at 24 South State Street in Concord, New Hampshire. And so now I do the show there, Matt Connerton Unleashed, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern. And this week I'm also bringing back the Express edition of Matt Connerton Unleashed, the 30 minutes or less podcast, which is uploaded every Tuesday and Thursday.
Tuesday and Thursday. It was Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Oh,
Yeah.
Mondays and...
It's changed a few times with the Express edition.
Right.
Because the Express edition isn't live, so I can kind of,
You can do whatever.
You can do whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then just upload it on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Exactly, yes.
And the 30 minutes is no songs, no interviews, just Matt Connerton
Right. The Express
and a
edition is
microphone.
just me and a mic.
Excellent. Dan, how are you? I haven't seen you in a few days.
I know, it's been sad. I've had withdrawals.
You've missed me, haven't you?
I've
I missed you. I missed you terribly.
And you never responded to my text message I sent you before you were heading off in the plane.
Yes, because I was boarding the plane at the time.
And I wanted you to have some type of, I wanted you to be reading a text message, have Homeland Security or somebody, attack you.
Yes.
Thinking there was some,
can we read your cell phone?
I almost felt like sending a message to, because you flew out of Logan, correct? You didn't fly out of Manchester, did you?
No, I drove down to Burlington to pick up the folks, and then we took the Logan Express.
See, I felt like calling Logan and just sending out a report and saying, there's a suspicious gay man flying to Georgia.
And they'd be like, honey, all gay men are suspicious.
I feel like his name is...
The text was, want to join the Mile High Club.
Yes.
Via the phone sailor.
Via the phone. I think it would have been fun. We could
Yes.
have, but you never got into the men's room on the plane, did you? You never
I
jumped
did
in?
once, and it was a scary...
I
There was,
see.
spackle on the toilet seat. That's how old this plane was. They fixed the crack with spackle.
Spackle or speckle?
Caulk.
Well, then
They
it was
fixed it with
speckle.
wow.
Oh, okay.
And the flight attendant, I could hear her before we took off. She was telling one of the passengers. She's like, "Oh yeah, that's special plane tape on the wing. It's plane tape, plane tape. It was duct tape. It was duct tape on the fucking wing.
You can duct tape anything.
I know.
Even a plane. Even a
But
plane.
you don't want to know that. It's like, really, just don't even pay attention to the wings. Anyway, so
Duct
yes,
tape and super glue.
I have returned from my glorious trip down to Atlanta, Georgia, to visit my sister Stacy, a longtime listener of IPM Nation, and I have now equipped her with wireless access so she can take IPM Nation anywhere in her household.
Really?
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
So I'm very excited. I'm well rested. I'm relaxed. I'm tanned a little bit. It's okay.
Are
It's
you?
burned.
No.
It's burned. I swear.
A little fade into a tan.
Yes, it will. We're Irish. We don't take.
We go directly to burn.
As Greg Fitzsimmons says, it's like putting a fork in the microwave. A lot of sparks and a whole lot of pain.
Yes.
Yep. So, anything I missed? Did I miss anything? I saw you guys on Friday night's edition of We Let It Large Gone Global
Yes.
via my Ustream app on my iPhone. That's the Ustream app. It's free to download.
Yes, it is. Did you enjoy it?
I did. I did indeed.
Did you enjoy the argument that happened on the air between Lionel and Glenn?
Lionel was... You couldn't hear a lot of what he was saying,
Oh,
but you
okay.
could hear the inflection in his voice. And
Yes.
if you know Lionel, you knew what was going through his head.
Yes.
Okay, I don't even need to hear that side of the argument.
Right, right.
You need to. Is there advertising? Oh God! Why don't you bring up more advertising arguments? Yeah, let's do it. So yeah, it was a fun trip. I should have for Friday nights, this coming Friday, We'll Let It Large Gone Global. I'll have some footage of my trip to the Coca-Cola World.
Did you bring back some Coke?
I did.
You did? You brought
I
some
did.
Coke, some prime Colombian
Yes.
cut Coke?
My mother is insane. Not only did she want us to, every person gets a bottle. You get a bottle, a glass bottle. She wanted everybody's bottle, whether it was full or not. So if you drank your Coke, she wanted the empty bottle. She wanted the bottle cap that had been plied, like they don't have twist off.
Yeah.
So she wanted the bottle caps. They come in little plastic bags. that say Coke. She took
She wanted
everybody's plastic bag.
Does she collect Coke? Is she one of these Coke obsessed?
Oh,
collectors?
yes.
Okay.
Someday for this show, what I'll have to do now that we're televised, I'll have to bring in pictures of what used to be my bedroom
Is it now a
in
Coke
Burlington
shrine?
is now a Coke shrine.
So she's
Red
a Coke
walls,
addict, is
yes.
what you're saying.
She's a Coke addict.
And what's odd is she has a red pull-out sofa bed
Mhm.
to match the red Coke room.
Wow.
When I stay over, I have to sleep on the couch in the living room that's non-pull-out with all the smoke because she has packed the Coke room so tight that you can barely open up the door.
Wow.
I'm
So
like,
she's
okay.
a hoarder. She's a Coke hoarder.
She's a Coke hoarder.
So would you say she's a Coke hoarder?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right.
I'd say it to her face.
So
In
we've
fact,
got
I
it-
have said it to her face.
We've got it on the air. That you call
I said
her
the
a
same
Coke
to my
whore.
sister.
Yeah?
Yep.
Your sister's the same way. She's a Coke whore.
She's a Coke whore.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's the entire family. Anyway, just looking at I just happened to notice on our, oh, there it is. The contact information for verbal ejaculation has changed. It's now under the chat room section of verbal ejaculation.
I know, that's
It used to be in the
confusing.
top right,
It's
but now that
confusing.
we have last week's episode, that kind of got pushed around. You could talk or text. Give us, we can actually use your cell phone if you like to.
Sure.
Give us a call or text us at 603-344-6491. We are available on Skype right now at verbal.ejac. AIM, verbal ejac, no space. Email us at ve@ipmnation.com. And Facebook, make sure to go ahead and add us as a friend, verbal space ejac. I'm staring at the lights as if that's the camera. There's the camera.
Stare right at the lights.
Yes.
Smile at the lights and say hello.
Hi. So, on the political front, since Tuesday, since the win in Michigan and Ohio, there's actually been a couple of more delegates won over the weekend. Guam. Romney won Guam. Guam.
What is that, like Guam? A half a delegate? What do
Yes.
they get in Guam?
That's, well,
Do they get
they're half a nation.
What do they
half
get in
a-
Guam? Do they even get delegates? Like, what do they get? Like 2 people?
It said that he won delegates from
Yeah.
Guam. We'll have to check that out.
Look
And,
it up and see how many delegates are in Guam. 'Cause I don't think it's a
Santorum won
huge amount.
Kansas.
I tend to forget that Guam is even a part of the United States until instances like these.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico.
Well,
Yeah,
Puerto
Puerto
Rico,
Rico.
well, I don't forget that. But
Isn't there another? There's another. Like, don't we have another island?
well, we have American
Puerto Rico.
Samoa.
It's all part of the American Virgin Islands, right?
Well, I was going to say, yeah, the Virgin Islands.
Let's see.
Because isn't there the British Virgin Islands too, and then there's the American Virgin
Yeah.
Islands?
7.
There's 7 delegates in Guam.
Apparently. Let me take a look and
But
see.
isn't there only like 9 people that live there total? I mean, come on, that's like
It's Guam.
It's Guam. It's a tiny little
Guam.
place.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was looking at Kansas. It's
Oh.
Kansas is Romney won 7 delegates and Santorum won 33, so 40 total delegates. Holy
Yeah.
shit, that's a lot of delegates for
that's a big
Santorum.
one.
9 altogether, and Romney won all of them.
All 9.
9.
He got all 9 of the Guam.
Yeah.
All right.
Romney takes Guam.
He takes
He
Guam.
is the inevitable
Well,
nominee.
it
Yep.
is. That right there. That's super.
No more,
Saturday
folks, you
or
can
whatever
go home.
it was.
But that's because Santorum made a statement in Guam, and he really insulted the Guam government.
Yes. He probably forgot that Guam was part of the U.S. when he said that.
Yeah.
He won.
What did he say? Did he say something about them being colored people, or
I
that
think
we
it was
just-
what they-
Yes.
Is that what he said?
Well, if it's a poor nation, then Romney's fucked anyway.
Yeah.
I was happy to see now because I missed Friday night's edition of Who Let It Large. I do have to talk a little bit about Tuesday, Super Tuesday, which was I was actually pleasantly just surprised to see Ron Paul not coming forth in every single delegate count.
Yeah.
Of course, Virginia, it was only Ron Paul and Mitt Romney,
Yes.
so he had to come in second.
Yes.
But he
Yes.
came in a
Yeah.
good second.
Although I think
Yes, a strong
in one state he came in behind undecided.
Oh my
If
goodness.
I recall, he had
But
less
Virginia
counts,
got over
less votes
40%,
than
that's
undecided,
what I expected.
Hmm.
or uncommitted, some term like that, undeclared. That's a
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
so basically other. He lost
Yes.
to other. So yeah, so that's. I was just happening to looking at my phone and CNN sends me the news alerts, and I just got Mitt Romney won Guam.
Mhm.
Guam. And then VI Virgin Islands. Mitt Romney won that. He won 7 delegates.
I'm telling you what, he's on his way to sealing the deal.
Oh yeah, somebody won. Who won? Oh, Ron Paul won 1.
He did?
Yes,
A delegate or a...
he won a
He
delegate
won
in
a
the
delegate
in the Virgin Islands.
Well, good for him.
Wow. Well, let's say they have weed in the Virgin Islands.
Yes.
So
Did
it's, you know,
Santorum get weed in the Virgin
And yeah, I missed that too. The New Hampshire House
Hmm.
voting to delegalize it, decriminalize it, which we talked about Sunday.
Yeah.
Actually,
Only passed
I
the
didn't
House,
even
though.
know that it was up for the House by one vote.
Yeah.
So,
But I think it's passed the House before, and then but it never
It
makes
gets-
it.
gets blocked.
is it?
I think
Governor
Lynch.
vetoed it.
I was gonna say, is
Yeah.
it really?
And
Because
they never took an override vote.
Yeah.
But
I
they
think we
say
made
they're-
some good arguments for the decriminalization
They
last
say it
week.
may
You
not
should
pass
listen
in the
to
Senate
us.
this time. There's a big fight.
Okay. Find them if they have, a small bag.
Well, you know
But
what
one representative said, it's ridiculous if they have 12 joints. Then yeah, you send their ass to jail like you normally would. But
Well, if they're growing it and they're distributing it within like a lot, and like if they're that neighborhood person that's next door to you, that their backyard is nothing but weed plants, like
I have to
then,
find this
yes,
neighborhood.
yeah, then yes, go ahead and throw them in the jail if they're the ones that are, but the ones that like the people that they're catching like small amounts on,
Yeah.
they should just give them a hefty fine,
Free Willie Nelson.
I say just legalize it.
But
Well, I've always been
their
pro
definition-
Step by step. I mean, we're not going to
Yeah.
get gay marriage in all 50 states. It's going to be step by step. A civil union, stuff like that.
Legalize it and give
I
the
don't
money
think you're
to
going to
the
see
kids.
legalized.
That's what I
But their
say.
definition of that is not the same as it should be. They're saying that for the first 3 times you get caught, you'll pay a fine. The 4th time, they'll criminalize it. Well, either you're gonna decriminalize it or you're not. Let him keep paying the fine, and he'll
Well,
pay the fine.
it's like keeping an open container of alcohol in your.
Well, do it like a habitual offender. Do it like a DWI. Do it
Yeah.
like that. Do it like that type of thing. If you're constantly caught with it, then throw the book at the person. Then
Yeah.
like do something, because you can't really take their license away for smoking weed. Like if you catch somebody with a bag of joints or a bag of weed, you can't what are you going to do to them? You're going to give them a fine. Most of the time, they're going to pay that fine and be like, all right, let's go smoke it up. They're still going to go right back. It's not going to teach them a lesson
No.
if you're going to outlaw marijuana.
Well, it's only a
So-
six-
And they're
6 of an ounce
habitual
anyway.
drunken driver.
Yeah.
They don't learn their lesson. They'll do
No.
the MOP program. They'll do the
Yeah.
3 days, the 7 days, the 90 days behind bars, and they'll come out and say,
Oh, let's have a drink. Let's
I
go
want a
get
shot.
another- Yeah.
How
Yep.
many joints can you roll in a 1/6 of an ounce? That's what they're saying. It's 1/6 of an ounce, but they're decriminalized. It's not much.
no. It's a very small
3
amount.
joints at the most.
It's like crumbs at the bottom of a bag. Anyway.
I know, Glenn, get your stash out. Let's put it on the camera.
Matt
Let's
is
have
all
you
for
roll.
legalizing.
Let's
He
see
wants
how many
full
we can roll.
legalization of.
Well, no, I support the full, and I've always supported full legalization, but because I put it up there just with alcohol and tobacco. I mean,
Yep.
it's just as addictive as alcohol and tobacco. It's just as deadly as alcohol and tobacco to a lesser extent.
And they
Because
found
weed doesn't cause cancer,
no.
and it doesn't destroy your liver, but it does
And they have
destroy your brain
they've
cells.
had
but-
some medical studies which shows there are benefits to smoking
Right.
small
Yes,
amounts of
small
marijuana.
amounts and-
Whereas drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes, there's no medical.
Right.
Well,
Well, they said if you drink a glass of wine a day, it's good
Yeah.
It's good for your heart.
That's true.
But nobody comes
Moderation.
home. Nobody comes home at the end of a long day and smokes a joint and then beats the hell out of their wife.
no.
No.
Usually they use that as the escape from like an angry wife or
Right.
from an angry,
Yeah.
that's usually what it is.
Everything's better with the bag of weed.
Yeah.
Bag of weed.
But it is a bizarre double standard. If you want to drink yourself into a coma, that's perfectly fine as far as the government's concerned. But if, like I said, at the end of a long day, you want to come home and have a couple bong hits to unwind, well, now you're a criminal and we have to put you in prison. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's craziness.
Absolute craziness.
Absolute craziness.
It's wacky.
Absolutely.
It's wacky and it's crazy.
It's
Wacky
beyond
tobacco.
wacky
Oh.
and crazy.
I forgot to say hi to my friend Matt from Lemonster,
Oh, Matt's
who's
logged in now
who's
in the
in,
chat?
in the chat room tonight, along with Jackson Dupree, 2012.
My
in
father was just
Pennsylvania.
calling. I should have put him on the air.
I know. I put my mom on the
should've,
air one
Because my
time.
father was calling, I should have put him on the air. But
You
the,
should've.
something upsetting that we'll get a little family here for a second. Something a little upsetting, and I'm going to ask an opinion about this.
Okay.
Oh, is this about to turn into random musings?
Not really random musings. It's kind of
If
a.
so, I have a topic too.
It's kind of a. It could be random musings, but not really.
Random
It-
musings-esque.
You can have. Each one of us has siblings of some sort. Now, Matt,
Yes.
you have half brothers and sisters, correct, or
I
just
have,
half sister?
I have 2 half sisters and a half brother,
Half-brother.
none of
Okay.
whom I ever see.
But you don't have a full-fledged, total blood brother.
That
right?
is
That's a
correct.
full- you're half. So you actually can relate more to my father than Chris or myself can, because my father is a half brother to everybody in his
Okay.
family. So that's why I was bringing this up. So my father, he's an only child for his two parents, but he had half brothers and half sisters. Because of and your situation's not similar in this situation, but I mean it was remarriages and things like that. His parents.
Is this a soundtrack, by the way?
It is.
Barry Manilow's Mandy is playing in the
Mandy
background.
is playing in the
Yes.
background just for this. My father, his parents. There was rumors back in the day that a mother leaves a father for another man, and another man leaves a woman. Those happen in relationships. So there was a previous family of the Ramlett family that when my father was born, they never really acknowledged him as being a real Ramlett,
Okay.
because he wasn't part of that original family. So there recently, my father's half brother died, one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And in the obituary, my father was blatantly omitted as a sibling.
Really?
That to me, now granted, you may have argument. I don't know how well you get along with your siblings. I mean, you may not talk to them on a regular basis. You may not even
I never
know
see
they
them or-
exist or see them. But were there any bad blood between you ever
No,
growing up?
no,
Never?
not at all.
No, okay.
Not at all.
But let's say there was. Do you think, like, God forbid, down the road, something happens to you, you pass away, are they going to be listed as acknowledged as your siblings in your obituary, you think?
I don't know.
Would you consider them to be listed at least as
I mean,
survived by
I guess they should be,
your
but
mother,
they're.
your father,
But I don't
he's
know.
half.
But I don't know that they would be. I'm not sure how that works, to be honest with you.
Because they're half. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not. It's not step. It's not even.
Sure.
But even step should be acknowledged to some
Yeah,
extent too.
yeah.
I mean, yeah. So everybody in this person's life was acknowledged except for my father in this obituary, and I found it very insulting, because the person who wrote the obituary was my cousin, who we're very close to,
Mm-hmm.
who isn't even related to the person who died.
Was it by request? Did somebody request the cousin omit? Or
No, we just think it's because bad blood is coming back up again, and it's like, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, even if you're not getting along with somebody, isn't it proper just to kind of put that person's name in there, just to
Oh,
acknowledge
absolutely.
the fact that, yes, he's survived by these people,
Yes.
and that's it. You don't have to be political or be anything about it, saying,
absolutely. You would do it
it's
just out of
it's
respect
a class
to-
act out of
Right.
respect.
Absolutely.
Because the people reading the paper about this person passing away, they don't need to know that there's family bullshit
Right.
going on.
Right.
And that's the other thing is
Yeah.
it's public information. The obituaries become public.
Yeah.
People read that going, oh, I know that last name. Let me
Yeah.
see if it's the person that
Oh,
I'm
of course.
thinking is.
And it becomes awkward when now my brother was approached by people saying, hey, did you know such and such? And it's like, with my name, it's not a common name. There's not that many of us that are not related. We're all related because we're pretty much a small name. It's not like a Smith, a Jones,
Right.
it's
Right.
not like a Rose. I mean, Rose is a lot more common than
Much
Ramlett
more
is.
common than
Yeah.
Renlet and
Yeah.
Connerton.
Yeah.
I don't actually know
Well,
any other Connertons
Connerton,
either.
yeah, Connerton's kind of a small name too. There's
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
There aren't
there
many
are a
others.
few out there, but I mean, but it's one of those things where usually when somebody said, and I knew growing up when I went over to Concord High, there was a Melissa Randlett that we went to school with.
Oh yes, there
And
was.
everybody always asked me if I was related to her. I never
Right.
knew her. And I
Really?
guess she
Yeah.
was like a
And-
promiscuous girl, and everybody was always like, oh, is she your sister? Is she this? I never knew her. I don't know where the relation was. She was tied into this person who passed away. I mean, she was tied into that family. So I was related to her, but I never was close to her, never really knew her.
Right, but she was
And-
promiscuous.
But she was. She
I,
was,
I slept
yeah.
with her. I
I-
never told you
I
because I
slept
thought
with
you
her.
were related.
But again,
And so did
I grew up in
Yeah.
Burlington.
But-
and I slept with
And
her.
so did Glenn. Actually,
But it was one of these things where everybody would come up to me with my last name and say, "Oh, are you, related to such and such?" And I'm like, my answer was always, "Well, we're all related, and if you want to take the Christian high ground, well, we're all God's children. We're all related, aren't we? Aren't we all related?"
Adam and Eve did it.
So
and we all came out of that.
didn't we start from two?
But I mean,
so,
I was in my homeroom. Actually, I had at least one rose in my homeroom too.
Yeah.
So we always got that. But because, sorry, I don't mean to
No.
interrupt. With my dad's family, my dad was adopted
Mhm.
by the Roses. So beyond that, there could be some relation, but we know it's never going to be blood relation because he was
Because it was an
adopted.
adopted name, yeah.
I mean, my nana will always be my nana. She'll be my grandmother.
Mhm.
we just don't share the same DNA.
Yeah.
So if I sleep with the
But
rose, it'll be fine, right?
No, but
Oh, yeah.
but if you're your Nana's obituary is not going to omit you because you don't share the DNA, though.
No,
is what
absolutely
I'm saying.
not.
I mean, here's a case where there's DNA shared, and this person is like being omitted, and and we were having, because it was my sister's birthday on Thursday night. We went out to a restaurant, and I didn't even know that this relative had passed away. I was out of the loop, and I found out that my father was not listed, and I'm thinking, now my father and my brother are not talking right now. They're not really getting along.
Still?
Still, there's some, and it's more other issues that are involved. But we're not going to make this around the music. But if my father or my brother passed away tomorrow,
Right.
neither one are going to omit each other in the obituary, even if they're not talking. So
Right.
it doesn't make sense.
Not
to
to
me.
spite one another.
No, because again, you don't make that public. You don't make it like it's not anybody's place to sit there and say, let's take our dirty laundry and put it in an obituary for something.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not what the
And-
obituaries are for.
Because now it's going to make, and I haven't spoken with my father since this has happened, but now it's going to make his life a little bit more awkward to try to be like, well, why weren't you in there? This was your brother that just died. Why were you not in there?
Well, but is
And
that something where people are really going to be asking him all the
they
time?
do.
Hey, why?
Because his other brother, who died years ago when I was a kid,
Yeah.
his other half brother, who he was closer to, who didn't have the same last name, when they had put the obituary in for that, they put the wives and they put my mother and not my father in.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, in his obituary. And people went up to my mother and said, how are you related?
Yeah.
It's like family, like, why are you, like, and it was like, so it's one of those situations where it's like, he's had people come up to him in the past, again, because it's not a common name, and it's one of those things where people know the person who passed away, know that he's related to my father, know he was my father's brother, and they're going to, they ask him. I'm sure they've asked him, how come you weren't in the obituary? So it makes it awkward.
And it sounds like there's a pattern here, because I remember you telling me the story about your dad having a conjoined twin who passed away, and they still didn't even mention your dad in the obituary for the conjoined twin.
Conjoined twin.
I thought that
Didn't
was
he carry,
that was
the,
outrageous.
didn't he carry the
That was
body of the
He
twin
did.
around with him?
So he still does, I
He
think,
still
right?
does. He still does.
And nowhere in
And
the obituary
nowhere.
was your father
Nowhere.
mentioned.
Is it a
Nowhere.
Ziploc bag? Does
Nowhere.
he keep it in now?
Well, he actually had the surgery done.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
he now has it in one of those pickle
Postmortem?
jars.
Well, because he probably got sick of people asking him, "Hey, how come this person attached to you
Oh, yeah,
died and
they just
you weren't mentioned in the
they weren't,
obituary?"
and it was just rude.
Yeah,
That is
well, yeah.
That's
Because how could you
unacceptable.
have a conjoined twin and not acknowledge that?
Right, right.
And it was the twins' family.
Yeah.
That did it. It wasn't anything
Yeah.
to do with my
Well, of
father.
course.
So, it's just.
That's
No,
the-
Now,
I just want to know your
Did
opinion.
did
about
they
it.
get married to conjoined twins?
Who got married?
Your dad and your
Confusing me,
conjoined twin?
because
Did they get married to conjoined?
Yes, and it mentioned the
It
wives in the
mentions the
obituary
wife.
and not,
yes,
and not
the
his
conjoined
dad.
twin's wife is mentioned.
But I heard
Yes.
they cheated
and
on
my
one
mother was mentioned.
All they had to do was
But
turn around.
my brother was never. My
Yes.
father was never mentioned in this. So we've turned this into a very distasteful
Yes.
thing. I'm sitting here. It's a very serious issue, and I just think it's distasteful.
You're right.
This
And
is-
on
it's-
a
Well,
show,
this is verbal ejaculation.
I know. Verbal I thought this was random music.
So you
Did
should
I
have
show up
said.
the wrong?
you should have said, "I call random musings," and then we would have been very serious and solemn.
Yes. All right. So somebody keeps sending me a text message, so I keep checking it and sending it back, and then the person just said, "Stop checking your phone. It's very obnoxious." So I'm done. People sending text messages in, I'm done. Stop sending me
I'll make
text
sure
messages.
he doesn't check his. I'm gonna check my phone.
Well,
if you
stop
don't
sending
mind.
me text messages. If you think it's obnoxious for me to look at the text messages, stop sending me text messages.
Or maybe it was for me because I've been checking my
Like,
phone.
are you checking your phone?
So I got stuff to do over here.
You know, I'm.
You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, talk amongst yourselves. You're
Is it your conjoined twin? You should just
It
look
was
down
my
and say, "I'm right
conjoined
here.
It's
Stop
my
texting me."
conjoined twin saying to me,
I said,
"If I die, you're not going to be in the obituary."
I'll sit here and start sending
So-
damn texts.
No, I'm not. From this point on, I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not going to look at any text messages. If people are giving me a hard time for looking at my phone, then stop sending me messages. That's like, another pet peeve.
Yes.
Phil, our old friend Phil.
Yes,
Phil.
Phil.
Used to call my house growing up just to tell me he couldn't talk to me on the phone. Continuously, he would call me. He would call me up, and when I was living with my mother growing up, he would call up my mother and say, and this is before she remarried, so he was like, Mrs. Randlett, this is Phil. I just wanted to call and tell you that I'm not going to talk to your son now, but I'd like to call him maybe tomorrow or the next day. Would that be okay? Like, it was like he was being too proper. But he would call, and then he used to, like, I'd pick up the phone, and he'd call me, and he'd be like, hey, and I'd be like, yeah, Phil, what's going on? He goes, well, I just want to call and tell you I can't talk to you right now. But I want to talk to you, so I'll probably call you in a couple of hours.
I think we all have like one friend or family.
How annoying is that?
Yeah. Hey, I gotta go, but I really want to talk.
I really want to talk to you.
But you called me.
Yeah,
I know. I'm sorry, I gotta go. Yeah, we all have that one friend. Matt in the chat room says, tell them to sign into the
sign in the chat. Do it that way. Yeah,
Send a text.
I agree with that. But I mean, that used to annoy me.
Yep.
Somebody would call you up and be like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. I just wanted to call you and tell you I can't speak. But that's how it would be. It wouldn't be that he would call and be like, oh, I got to rush out. He would call me to tell me, I'm just calling you to tell you I can't speak with you at this moment. It was almost like he was scheduling a time later on in the night. Do you mind if I call you like 3-4 hours?
But that's a
from
simple text. You're going to be
They didn't
around
have
at 8.
They didn't have texting back then,
yeah.
Chris.
It sounds like an OCD thing.
That was,
Yet
that was
ironically,
back.
they had Skype.
They didn't have Skype back then either, did
Skype.
they? We didn't have those newfangled computers back then. We had to use slates. We wrote on
There's
slates.
the black screen with the green letters.
I still have my abacus.
Your abacus.
Yeah.
Remember those?
Yeah.
Remember learning on an abacus? It's Glenn does.
Abacus.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Abacab by Genesis. I
I
get
see.
confused. That's what I still
That
have.
was Epic Hack.
Yes.
Makes you fall.
Yes. Well, no, that's Phil Collins
Yeah.
specifically,
It's true. True story.
not with Genesis.
We lost Davy Jones, but we didn't lose Phil Collins.
No.
You know, we lost another big performer
But
this
Phil
this
Collins
week.
did lose his hair. What's that?
A lot of his hair.
Yeah.
Jimmy Ellis passed
Jimmy
away.
Ellis.
Jimmy Ellis.
Refresh my memory. I'm embarrassed, but
Disco Inferno. Come on.
Really?
Yes, he's the one that sang Disco Inferno with the Tramps.
Oh,
Jimmy Ellis. He died at 74.
That's a shame.
Yeah. Yep. And it says here that his rich baritone powered the funky Grammy-winning tune from the Saturday Night Fever album. It's only second to The Bodyguard as the best-selling soundtrack album. So they had to put
Wow.
Whitney into his obit, didn't they?
Yeah.
They
Yes.
had to put
Yes.
Whitney into
Yeah.
his obit.
And there's still stories about like Ray J is still mourning the loss of Whitney.
Why
Yes.
is Ray J?
Who the fuck
cares?
cares?
Who cares if Ray J
Who
is
the
worth
fuck
it?
cares about Ray J?
I'll tell you what though. If your father was
Yes.
related to Whitney Houston
Yes.
or Jimmy Ellis, they wouldn't
would've-
put him in there.
No, they wouldn't.
No.
They wouldn't.
No.
I think they're out to get my father. I think that's what it is. In fact, I'm going to reveal now, for the first time on the air, my father was related to Whitney Houston.
Was he?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Your father also.
Well, I'm sorry. His
killed
conjoined
JFK.
twin.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
his
Well,
conjoined
that's
twin
that's
was related.
very very different.
That's big difference.
The
Yes.
conjoined
Big
twin was
difference.
actually the one that provided the gravy boat.
Really?
full of
I think the
cocaine.
conjoined twins, they were stepbrothers too. They weren't even full
No,
brothers.
they weren't. They were stepbrothers.
So everyone blames Bobby Brown,
Yes.
but it's really the conjoined twin
was the
who is
conjoined
the
twin.
culprit.
He was the
They were
culprit.
half brothers. They came out of two different vaginas, but they were
Mhm.
attached to
How
the
would that happen?
Yes.
That's just weird.
What?
Having conjoined twins coming out of two different vaginas, that would just be weird.
Well, you know, some women
It
like
happens.
yeah, like
I
they're-
saw it in Weekly World
Science.
News.
Yes.
Weekly World News. The
Yes.
New England
Everything
Journal
in
of
Weekly World
Science.
News.
Oh.
Now that you mention that, a couple of months ago I was at a friend's. My friend Michelle, her dad passed away.
Okay.
And I'm reading his program at the church,
Mhm.
and
Wait a minute, they allowed you in a church?
they did.
Really?
I had to wear a cloak so
I was gonna
my
say,
skin wouldn't burn up.
Okay.
Uh,
alright.
Did you decide not to be gay for that?
Did you dress
for your
straight
time
that
in
day?
the church?
Well, I figured if the priest is, I can be
Yeah.
too.
Oh, it was a Catholic.
Catholic.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
okay, you're
Catholic,
allowed
okay,
there.
yes,
Okay, yeah, that's
Catholic
fine. Okay,
church,
all right.
yes.
Hedonistic. In it, this is like one of those airing out your dirty laundry in front of everybody, because in it was Robert Wood who had passed away. His name was Robert Wood, and had listed his brothers and sisters and mother, everything, and the kids. Everyone was Wood, except part of the family was listed as Woods,
What?
with an S at the end.
Okay.
And I'm like, is this a typo? Because it says at least 4 or 5 times. Woods.
Huh.
Apparently part of the family, like brother or sister, did the research on the lineage and found out that when they had come over, their original last name was Woods, with
So
the S
they
at the
lost
end.
the S at Ellis
But,
Island.
yeah, a long time ago, they dropped the S.
So why did?
So this part of the family decided, oh, well, we're going to go back to Woods. We're going to do the proper,
Okay.
while the rest of the family apparently were the black sheep. Oh, if you want to stay Wood, you can. It's like, so I brought it to my friend Michelle. I was like, "Is this a typo?" And she told me it's the story.
The
She's
whole
like,
thing.
"No, this is what happened." And I'm like, "Okay, so everybody here who knew your dad but didn't really know your family now is involved in this story with your family." Okay, great,
Yeah.
fantastic.
That is a little wacky.
Yeah, a little wacky.
Now they should have put like a little blurb in there explaining that.
Yeah.
They should have just said that to everybody. By the way, this is not a typo.
Right.
Here's the family history, just to make this moment not about him now.
Yeah.
Let's take away the death. Let's just make it about this like other side of the family that had it. Now, does that mean okay? So my name's an Americanized version of a French name. Should I just go back to the original French name then too? Should I just decide that I don't want to?
Is it gay?
Gay?
Gay.
It's gay.
Is it
Dan-
Rendlete?
Rendlete? No. It was the original, like the original name.
Rondelet?
Rondelet.
Rondelet.
Oh, Rondelet.
Rondelet. So should I just go back
Like
to
Art
Rondelet?
Rondelet.
Should I just go to Rondelet? Should I go back to that and decide to just not go through my family lineage and just say, you know,
Absolutely.
I'm just going to change my name to Rondelet. So then in cases
Rondelet.
where like my father gets taken out of the obituary,
Arriba, arriba,
I can be like,
Rondelet,
I'm not
Rondelet.
related to him, I'm a Rondelet. So it's not like,
Yes.
you know, there we go.
Matt was who went to high school with me and the same girl. I think only you and her close friends would have cared about that.
Oh, what is
The
that?
General
Wow.
public, not so
Echo.
much. Yeah, see, it's like, it's not something that you would need to.
You don't
make
need to hear
public.
it out. You don't need
Yeah.
to hear it out.
For that moment in time, take
No.
the S off to show that it's a family unit.
Did you show your unit in church?
I had to refrain.
Okay.
It was 10 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't
10
nearly
o'clock in
as
the morning.
drunk as I should have been to get into a church. I was by the end though.
Good.
When all they give you is that little cracker and a whole glass of wine.
Uh-huh.
I was hammered.
Did they do that during
I
the
had
funeral
Jesus
service?
all in me.
Did they do that during the funeral service? They do communion during that service?
During this service, yes, I got. Actually, my grandfather's 1-year memorial service was also tied in with a Catholic service, so they had communion there too. I mean, not to air out dirty laundry, but there's probably going to be an aunt in my family that I'm still not speaking to that I would like to see omitted from my obituary. I don't care. I'll take that one to my grave. I just thought, well, you know, I think I've talked about this story.
Well, are you gonna,
my
like-
family on a random musing? Her scumbag boyfriend one time got me drunk and sexually assaulted. Or not.
No, I think you did.
She stayed with him. She stayed with him after I told her, and now
Oh, okay.
they broke up. I think he cheated.
This
or
sounds familiar now,
fucking
yes.
died or something.
Okay.
Now she's telling people, now that my grandfather passed away, my grandmother's trying to get my mother and her sister to start talking again, to be close again. I just found out from my mother while we were down in Atlanta that this bitch face aunt of mine has been telling family members that it was me. I sexually assaulted him. I was the one who instigated it.
And how old were you at
This.
the time?
This, okay?
But how old were you at the
I
time?
was 22, 23.
Okay.
Still coming out, still not out to everybody in my family, but I was the one who plied him with the alcohol. Not me, who he gave a 40 ounce of bud and then got me shit-faced.
Wow.
So, yeah. So now she's even deader to me. Yeah. Well, that's not true. I told my mother that I would forgive her if she came out publicly and said I was the one who lied the entire time, not Chris.
Right.
There we go. So yeah. So there are times where some people want to take that kind of shit to their grave.
Yeah.
And that's one of those times that I wouldn't mind. Survived by Patricia and Charles and Aunt Diane, Uncle Danny, but no mention of her.
Right.
Just one of those things. So that's our random musings
There you
portion
go.
of the night.
There you go. It was the first half of the show. Random
Yep.
musings. There you go.
Yeah.
For all those people that don't know
But
random
apparently I was
musings,
so
they-
good he actually asked me a second time
Wow.
to do it. Yeah.
Well, that's flattering.
So anyway. How is everyone? Yeah.
Wow.
There it is.
Wow.
Now I'm getting
Now,
text.
was there any-
I'm sorry. I'm checking my
Was there
phone.
was there a conjoined twin involved in that situation?
Yes. Yes. Apparently I was sexually assaulting both
All
of them.
right.
Taking turns.
Good.
How awkward was
Just I
that?
was donkey punching both of them.
Really?
Yep. I'm like, You look over there, boom, right in the back of the head.
Well, that's hot.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, now I'm horny.
Wow.
Wow.
Jeez.
All this talk about sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, did you know that Whitney Houston's daughter, getting off this sexual assault thing, back to Whitney Houston, Bobby Brown and her daughter wants to change her name.
Bobby Christina wants to change her name.
So she's no longer associated with her father, Bobby Brown. Speaking of, like, disassociating yourselves with parents, the 19-year-old wants to basically change her name to become Christina Houston. She wants to lose the Bobby Christina Brown.
Bobby!
So she just wants to be Christina Houston.
She probably doesn't want people doing that to her. Bobby! Bobby!
Yeah.
Oh, hail to the no.
Yeah, so that,
This is literally killing me.
what, the
Music?
music in
The
background?
elevator music.
But it was
No,
nice
it's
to have a
music,
little, it was
actually.
nice to have a little Hall & Oates
Tune it
playing
out.
for,
True.
you know.
It's always nice.
Barry
to have
Manilow.
Hall &
You know, it's always good to have a little Hall & Oates in the background. They should just make this a Hall & Oates station. In fact, why can't IPM Nation just have an all 24-hour Hall & Oates station? Why not? There can, and I'm sure there's legal ramifications why you can't do it.
I'll have
Most
to,
likely.
I'll have to email the network.
Email the network and talk to John Oates,
Yes.
because I think they would probably appreciate it.
Yes.
The other thing I
think
wanted to
Daryl
bring up-
Hall would have more clout.
No, Oates is the brains.
Yeah.
Really?
Don't underestimate
Oh,
the
yeah,
oats.
come on.
All right.
Oates.
It's the mustache,
It's
isn't
the
it?
mustache.
Yes.
But he shaved the mustache, so now
He
he
did.
doesn't have the power of the mustache.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You should grow it back.
And
I've
every
seen
time
him without it.
Every time I've seen them in interviews, or even Daryl Hall by himself, it's confusing as all hell, because it almost seems like they hate each other bitterly. It really does, because he'll, you know, they'll ask Daryl Hall, they'll be like, oh, you guys are taking a break from each other, you're out doing your own solo tour right now, and he'll just sit there and he'll say these really disparaging, evil, nasty things, because I guess they've worked together so long that it's one of those things where they're just kind of
Well,
like,
it'd be you and I.
yeah, we just feel like
that
but it's not like
fuckface
it's not
Dan.
like joking though. It's not like joking. He's kind of like, I just need a break. I need to get away from him. And then he's also,
Then it's very much like me.
but he's
Dan.
also
All right.
against deer.
I had to
don't know
go
if you-
to.
I don't know if you knew
I had to go to
that,
Atlanta to.
because he has Lyme disease.
Right.
And he's but if you listen to him in interviews, he wants to wipe the deer population off the planet Earth.
Yes.
Like he really does. He thinks all deer should be dead.
Right.
So he's like,
Yeah, he's gone on Howard Stern and talked
oh
about
yeah,
that,
Howard Stern, he goes on there, but even beyond Howard, he talks it on other shows.
Yeah.
Like he goes on about the
Does
fact
he
that
hang out
him,
with Ted Nugent?
him and his family all have Lyme disease because he moved out to the woods and they got bit by deer ticks. It's kind of his fault, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the woods.
Yeah, you went out to the
It's
woods.
like, he moved out to the woods.
It's like if you move to
Oh.
Harlem, you
You know?
kind of know what to expect.
You know,
and
if you
don't think,
Yeah, if you
you're
get
not gonna
mugged
shot.
by a group, you know,
Yeah.
if you're a white, skinny white guy living in Harlem and you get mugged,
Hey guys,
because you're wearing
Ow,
a
good to
brand
see
new
ya.
Nike tracksuit with
Yeah.
new shoes, and you got like a solid gold iPod, you know, and you're running around outside, you know,
Yeah.
jogging 3 in the morning, and you get jumped by some
Diamond-crusted suit.
African American
Yeah.
gang members. Yeah, let's get rid of all of them.
Yeah.
let's get them off the planet Earth, because it's their fault, not
Yeah.
yours. Yeah.
Exactly.
I always found it ironic. I love Hall & Oates. I love Daryl. I think he's a funny guy when you listen to him in these interviews. But he just, it seems like, you know, when he gets into these tirades about the deer, it's like, well, you moved out in the woods, and it's like, okay, I can
Yeah.
understand. We should do something about deer ticks and things like that. But it's like, what do you expect if you move out into the country, out in the woods? There's going to be dangers.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like moving next to an airport and
Yeah.
complaining about the
Yeah.
noise.
Yeah.
Living next to a swamp and not expecting mosquitoes with triple E.
Yeah, it's like, and now he wants to like just eliminate deer. So it's just okay. That's all right. But I could see him and Ted Nugent. They should have like a TV show on one of those like Discovery channels where it's
Yes.
him and Nugent out hunting deer.
I can't imagine Daryl Hall with a
Wait,
gun. I
Nugent
don't
and
know why.
Hall or Hall and Nugent?
Hall and Nugent.
Hall and
Oh, it'd have to be Hall and Nugent.
Yeah, Hall and Nugent. Sounds like they could be
Or
like
they'll probably go
country
something
cops.
like Hall and Not Oates. Something just
Hall and not Oates. But I could see
Silly.
Nugent with his bow and arrow, and Daryl Hall with a slingshot. Like I could just see him with like a little slingshot out there trying.
I thought he
trying
was
to
going to
catch
say
deer.
bow and arrow. I don't know why.
Bow and arrow.
I think you were going to say boner. I don't know.
You guys ever see
Wow.
Garfunkel and Oates?
Garfunkel and Oates.
It's these two women. They're a duo, and they just do funny songs. You can find them on YouTube. They're really
And
funny.
They dress up as Garfunkel and Oates, do they?
Garfunkel and Oates. They don't dress up, but
That is
Call
funny.
themselves
Yeah.
The two sidekicks.
they have a song called "Pregnant Women Are Smug." It's
Wow.
really funny.
Pregnant women are smug. It's true.
Mm.
It is true.
It is true. That's what makes it so funny.
Garfunkel and Oates.
Yes, highly recommend them.
Garfunkel and Oates.
They're very attractive as well.
I
well-
keep thinking of the Sweeney sisters from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, the Sweeney
Jan
sisters,
Hooks
yeah.
and Nora Dunn.
The Sweeney
Oh,
sisters.
Speaking of which, life has not been good to Jan Hooks.
Really?
Did you ever see the Women of Saturday Night Live special they had last year? They had
No.
like everybody come back. They had.
I didn't even know about that.
Did they even have Victoria Jackson come back? After
No,
she
I,
went right when-
I think they may have interviewed her, but they had.
She was
the
probably
opening,
too busy praying.
Yeah, and it was like the opening sketch was the Real Housewives of SNL, and it was Andy Cohen coming in and interviewing Anna Gasteyer, Sherry O'Terry,
Wow.
Molly Shannon, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, and all the ones
No
up till
kidding.
now. But they had Lorraine Newman was there.
Wow.
Nora Dunn was there, and then they had to. They got Jan Hooks, and Jan Hooks has been on 30 Rock in a few episodes, so you've seen her recently. But
Yeah.
she was just in such a condition that they actually, her portion was she was lying in bed with the covers over her because she's gained so much weight.
Oh no.
But you look
really?
at Nora Dunn, who was her partner back then, and she's fit. She's just
Yeah.
a fit woman. But poor Jan Hooks.
So
can't-
she hid in bed? Like she was hiding in bed? Or
She was-
just can't
she was
get out of bed,
pretending-
she's that big.
She was. I think they were hiding it. They were hiding it. And her thing was, she had a young, sexy man lying next to her.
So
that's
so
why
it
they
was like
did
a bed,
it.
so
Yeah.
was like, okay. So they couldn't do what they used to do for like the Heart music videos. They couldn't shrink the camera. They couldn't do that. It would be
They couldn't do that during the Heart videos either.
No,
the young, sexy guy that she was sitting next to would be like this
yeah, so
small.
it'd be like a little. Remember when they do that though? They did that like at the what was it when they were trying to make their big. Well, they made their big comeback in the
Heart,
80s.
yeah.
Remember,
And they
everything
filmed
with
all
Sybil
their music
Shepherd always
videos
had
where they
the
kinda did
Vaseline
that.
on the lens.
Yeah. They just show close-ups of her face.
Yeah, and then they'd get the close up of her face, and it would be the whole screen would be her face.
Right.
But then you'd have like these long shots of the band, and she'd be like this tiny.
Yeah.
And the band, and all the other members would be like skinny and tall.
Uh,
And it'd be like, wow, they got like a lot of
I
tall.
thought they
members
did that
in
with
their
Rick
band.
Ocasek, but that's really how Rick
That's
Ocasek
how Rick
looks.
Ocasek
Yeah.
looks.
Yeah.
Now,
Where the hell were we?
I don't know. Anyway,
I don't
now
remember.
Matt, I got a question for you because you recently have been mouthing off or voicing your opinion about Pumpkinhead. I mean, I'm sorry, Rush Limbaugh.
Oh yes.
Ditto.
And the Ditto Heads.
Yes.
Ditto it.
For
My fringe.
saying words like slut and whore and things
Yes.
like that. Now,
Must.
recently, and this has been something that's been discussed before, but there's not on our show, but there's been recent. I guess somebody said this in a news conference recently too. Somebody had asked President Obama if he felt that the money Bill Maher recently gave him, $1 million,
Mhm.
should be returned, because isn't it hypocritical that everybody was giving Rush Limbaugh a bunch of shit when Bill Maher has been on record calling Sarah Palin a cunt, calling her a slut, a whore, calling her a lot of comments throughout his show on, which is on HBO, of course, so you could say those words. But
Right.
he's also made other comments about other conservative members,
Right.
and he just recently contributed $1 million to the campaign, and nobody's talking about this being
No,
a
I
big
see.
issue.
There's quite a few people.
I mean, they're
talking about
now
it.
bringing it up now, saying that
Yeah.
nobody cared before. But it's like but anytime something on the right, like anybody from the right
Well-
makes a comment,
I do think there's a difference.
is there a double standard? Is what I'm asking.
I don't think so because I think Bill Maher is a comedian.
Yes,
He's
Rush
doing
Limbaugh
comedy.
tries to be a comedian, though.
Right. Well,
So
right.
wait, would it?
You know, they're both
See,
entertainers.
there
Neither
are-
one are newsmen.
There are two frames of thoughts of this, is because I know which frame of thought or which train of thought you have with Bill Maher, because I'm thinking the exact same thing, that
Mhm.
this is Bill Maher. This is what we've come to expect with
Yeah.
Bill Maher in real time.
Right.
He's on HBO.
He's
There's sponsorships there,
irreverent.
but the sponsors.
And I love his show. I love Real
Oh, yeah,
Talk.
yeah.
I've always liked
But
his show.
where is it? Is it Barack? Should Barack be the one who sends
should
the
he
money?
take the high ground?
Because it's
isn't
not Bill
he
Maher
being-
who's
is
going to
he
be
being a
losing the
hypocrite for
sponsors.
keeping
he
the money?
is the sponsor. Barack Obama would be the one who's taking that money. Should he give it back? See, that's where.
That's what I'm asking, because Barack Obama is basically saying, by him accepting the money, saying, well, it's okay if it's coming from Bill Maher. Like he's saying it. Now, in all honesty, Rush Limbaugh is not a news guy. He's not an anchor man. He never has been on his show. He's not, in all rights, he's an entertainer. He's a Howard Stern, just like, I mean, he's just a conservative Howard Stern. He's a radio guy, just like Imus is or anybody
Right.
else is. So in Rush Limbaugh's eyes, he's a comedian of some sorts too. He's an entertainer, just like Bill Maher is. Bill Maher is a comedian, he's an entertainer. Bill Maher does a lot of political stuff now, just like Dennis Miller does. Dennis Miller shifted over to the right, because Dennis Miller, a lot of people never realized he was always a conservative until he finally just stepped up and said, hey guys, I've always
Him
been a
and
conservative.
Victoria Jackson.
And but see, everybody loves Dennis Miller, and they still do.
Oh,
People
yeah.
still
Oh,
respect him.
absolutely.
He's one of my
He's
all-time
brilliant.
favorite comedians.
Brilliant.
Even, and I'm not a fan
his
of
show-
his now because he's a conservative. I always was a fan.
And his show is good too. His
Yeah,
radio show, I think, is very
Oh,
good.
it is.
There's,
But he's never taken that
There's not a lot of similarity though, because you're talking about somebody who is hired to spend 3 hours a day entertaining, being an entertainer. These people are giving money. There isn't, other than the fact that money was given. One was given to be a donation to, here is your election. Here's the money towards your election. The other is, we want people to buy our products. So there's actually not much similarity other than money was given.
Well, it's not the question. It's not the question of him losing sponsorship. I mean, Rush made a mistake, but Rush was trying to point, like his
But
whole point
what
was
would
he
be
was
the
trying to say he
mistake,
doesn't
though?
want the government shouldn't be paying for.
Bill
birth
Maher
control,
calling
shouldn't
somebody
be
the
paying
C
for other
word
people's
on
birth
a
control.
channel that is a pay-for-premium channel
Is
people
different.
comes.
From,
Yeah,
but I mean, Rush
where
didn't say,
sex
"Oh,
scenes
she's
are
a." But he didn't. I mean, Rush didn't
sometimes
really swear,
gratuitous,
but
but-
he didn't. He didn't. But I mean, and they're talking about Bill Maher on occasion. Like, it's not something where Bill Maher said it once. Bill Maher has had his career slamming the right, and ever since, even before Obama was elected, when McCain and Palin were running, he was slamming, Sarah Palin the whole time, calling her every vile word against women. Like he's not a sexist comic. He's not one of those people that run out there and do that.
Right.
He's only sexist when it involves, like he's called Ann Coulter stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like any woman
He had
that's
a,
on the right, he's always been sexist and vile towards in his act because that's part of his act.
And people
Right.
come to expect it. In
His
fact,
act.
he has an uncensored on, I think it's screen.yahoo.com. There's a 1 hour stand-up that Yahoo actually sponsors for him.
Yeah,
So you
it's
can
Yahoo.
actually watch it for
Right.
free. And he curses.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck this.
Yeah.
And Ann Coulter. But
Yeah.
here's the difference.
They're friends, by
because
the
of-
way. Did you know that?
Him and Ann Coulter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's on a show a lot of times.
Yeah.
She'll show up on
With
it.
the FCC and all that, there's regulations with the public airwaves where Rush is broadcasting from. And
Right.
his sponsors expect a certain level of professionalism when it comes
Of
to
course.
a show.
Of course.
Where again, HBO, they probably do have sponsors. They're pretty much a commercial-free
We
channel.
are HBO sponsors.
Right.
We pay for HBO.
So
they're not a commercial
here's
channel.
here's the solution: pull them from the public airwaves, put them right onto Sirius XM. There you go. People start paying
Well, it's like,
to listen.
I mean, because a lot of people talked about it back when Imus called the basketball team
Yeah.
Nappy-Headed Hose,
Yeah.
which was, again, Imus trying to be funny.
Right.
Imus trying to be shocking, and Imus trying to be funny, and that got all taken out of context.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And people made a big deal because the race card got issued on this one, and
Right.
he had to go and put his tail between his legs, and he had, and I'm not a big fan of his. I used to listen to his show.
I felt badly for
and,
him.
And it was like, and he got hung
I'm
out
not
to
a huge
dry.
fan of his either.
No, he had some funny moments back in his heyday, but a
Yeah.
lot of his routines he stole from other people. And
Oh,
it was-
sure.
And I'm not saying he always just stole them from Stern. He stole them from other people too. But the
Did he do YouTube videos? I'm
did
sorry,
he,
I'm
do-
thinking of
he
somebody
used
else.
to clip a whole bunch of like YouTube videos together and stuff. No,
thinking
but
of
he
somebody
would.
else, sorry.
But
It was
but
very
with-
retro.
But with Imus, he would. Imus was
That
hung
was
out to
the
dry
one
in that
mention
whole
of the
thing
day,
because they
so
needed.
Give him one.
Because they needed somebody to just kind of massacre at that time. But I mean, in his career, never really recovered, even though he's still on the air. He still has his radio show.
Oh, yeah.
They took his TV show off, right, which was basically just a camera in the room for his radio show.
Well, yeah, he had been on. They used to simulcast him
CNBC or
on
something, was it, or
MSNBC.
MSNBC, yeah.
Yeah.
See, and the thing is, I can't stand Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
But I will defend his right to free speech. I think there's been a little bit. See, this is why I think he would work much better on Sirius XM on satellite. It's a pay-for
well, the thing is, though,
service.
he is on Sirius because his show is broadcast on Sirius as
Yeah.
well because there is
Right.
a right channel,
He's-
left channel,
and he has a
it's one
right
of
to
those
his
things
opinion.
where they do broadcast
Yeah.
the show on there.
I understand the
But-
comedic value of a woman who wants her birth control paid for by her health insurance. Well, why is she having all this sex? He did it for 3 days straight though.
Yeah.
it wasn't a turn of the cuff expression.
Yeah.
It didn't just slip right out of the tongue.
Yeah.
He harped on it for 3 days straight.
No, and he, and it might have been bad judgment on his part to keep
Right.
harping on it. But again, it's like, to me, it seems a little hypocritical, though, that it's okay for one person, but it's not okay for the other. If we're all going to have freedom of speech, why can't we all
It
just be able
depends.
to speak
It
our
really
mind?
it depends on the medium.
I mean, let the
It
let the
depends on the-
sponsors pull out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the sponsors shouldn't have pulled out. If the sponsors don't want to sponsor a show, it's their right to pull out. Go ahead and pull out, because he'll get other sponsors.
Right.
I mean, he will. He's
where's
he's a
that,
successful.
Where's the
host.
hypocrisy then?
No, I'm just saying, it's like, I'm talking about with
Because
the president himself. The president himself, and people have asked him recently to bring this up, because the left has made a big deal about Rush Limbaugh calling this woman a slut, and they've taken a lot of what he was saying out of context in the media and shifting it all around. But yet they leave people like Bill Maher alone because he's a comedian.
Here's
comedian.
the problem, though. Rush Limbaugh, as much as you may say he's an entertainer,
But he's not the head of the Republican Party.
but he is Dan. He is the de facto spokesman for the Republican Party.
Because
Yes.
he wants to be, though.
I've
That's the problem.
actually heard
Nobody
him-
has put him in that position.
I've actually heard him referred to as the Grand Poobah of the
Yeah, he's
Republican Party.
he's pretty much
He's
the
like that
most
way.
powerful Republican in the country without holding
Yes.
any office, because all the ditto heads, he tells them what to think, and they
No,
say
he's-
mega
he's-
dittos, Rush.
I
and
mean, he's like the public powerful power head.
Yes,
but
We've
nobody
got,
in
like,
the party
Karl
has
Rove
ever
and
put
Roger
him.
Ailes, who are in the
But I'm saying, though,
background
nobody
pulling the strings.
in the party of any
No, the
they-
constituents do.
they've never put him on anything to say, oh yeah, you are the head. We're going to listen to everything you say.
I
Rush."
think the other point
it's
is
the idiots out there that are voting.
Bill
you
Maher
know,
goes
listen.
Right.
Bill
Well,
Maher
I
goes.
agree. I agree.
Bill Maher goes up against people who can defend themselves.
Yeah.
He will have Ann Coulter come on her show.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I'm sure he's invited
But see,
Sarah
the thing
Palin,
about-
and Sarah Palin has said no. Here's
She
the
doesn't-
thing.
She doesn't know what channel HBO is
Sa- Sandra?
Sandra.
Sandra Fluke.
on.
Fluke.
I've heard it pronounced 3 different ways: fluke,
Fluke.
fluck, and fluck.
From what I understand, it's Fluke like look.
Okay.
She's not going to defend herself.
No.
She can't defend herself.
And a lot of people are afraid of that type of show because they're afraid they're going to get sandbagged by somebody like Bill Maher. And the
Right.
thing about Bill Maher, now, one thing that I love about Bill Maher, have you seen his movie about religion?
Oh, Religulous.
Religious.
That
yes.
is an awesome movie.
It's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's that movie's great. And again, he's not bringing politics into this movie. It's
No.
all about like the stupidity of all the different religions
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a self-proclaimed atheist. I mean, he does. He even says, I think at the beginning of the movie.
Well, he
doesn't he
claims
say-
agnosticism, and that there is a
Yeah.
that
Or
is
agno- I'm
an
sorry, he's
important
agnostic,
distinction.
right, yeah,
Although
he's
the
agnostic,
monologue
yeah.
that he does at the end sounds very atheist.
Yeah, yeah.
but he does describe himself as an
Yeah,
agnostic.
but but that movie's really fascinating how he did it. And it's done in a comical way, of
Yes.
course,
Oh,
because
yeah.
he's a comedian. He's not trying to do it as a, like any of these movies. But like, and I've watched his show because it's good to see, and sometimes he'll have an all Republican panel
Sure.
on his show.
Sure.
He's not. He doesn't, and he'll attack them, and he'll give his point of view, and of course they'll fight back. They don't just sit there and go, "Oh, you're the host, Bill Maher." It's like, "Oh, we're afraid of you."
Right.
And it's not meant to be a serious political forum because yes, it's an HBO hour show. It's not really. People aren't tuning into HBO to get their news. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the only time I used to tune into HBO to get my news was when not necessarily the
Not
news.
necessarily
used
the
to-
news. Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
that's when I used to tune in to
I
get
used to
my
watch
news.
that all the time.
But I mean, it's like nobody's really taking it. But I mean, are people really tuning into Rush to get their news?
Yes. Oh, Dan,
Because
come
that's
on.
scary, though. People really are.
Because
They're-
Yes.
these people
Yes, they
who
are.
listen to conservative talk radio, a lot of them, that's all they listen to.
Yep.
They listen
Like
to
they're
Rush,
getting
they
all
listen to Hannity, because everything else is the
Yeah.
liberal media. So
For a
the
but
for
it's
a
like-
long time, too long of a time, if you ask me, it was the word according to Glenn Bennett.
oh, absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
But it's like, but the problem with the news channels is there's no news anymore. It's all everybody's opinion of
Yeah.
the news because every
The
channel
only news
has.
you get is the scroll at the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, at night.
And even that, okay, well,
During
this is
the
what
day,
this
it's
is what
straight.
offended me
But
too.
But that's
And
local news
we were
too,
watching
with like maybe 10 seconds of, in
Yeah.
international news, Japan is celebrating, or not celebrating, but remembering.
Japan is celebrating the
One year
tsunami.
of
Yeah.
tsunami.
This is what annoyed me about Fox News the other night, and I've noticed this on other
By the way,
news
actually,
channels.
I want to point that out. CNN, top 3 stories on CNN.com. We're talking about Japan 1 year later.
Yeah.
One fucking story about it, and then give me everything
that's
else.
it.
I'm sorry, you're right.
But-
there's,
Yeah.
So
There's
I'm
a lot
watching
less
I'm
news
watching
now.
Fox News the other night, and I've noticed this on other news channels too, and this is what's driving me crazy too, because I don't consider this news. My girlfriend even pointed this out too, and her comment was, I wonder how much money they gave Fox for this. We're watching, might have been even O'Reilly or whatever it was, because I think O'Reilly's hilarious. I love his show.
I said something nice about him today.
You
on
did.
my show.
You said something nice
in his
last
corner
week
a
on the
little
show.
bit.
Yeah,
lately.
yeah.
But we're watching his show. Scrolling on the bottom, you're getting all these news stories. And then the big news story comes over. Apple announces their new iPad coming out, and it starts describing all the new features it has.
Oh, no kidding.
And all the things. It's a fucking Apple ad. It's
Yeah.
not news. You
No.
can have a certain little blurb saying Apple announces new iPad to be launched. Done.
Right.
Instead, this is
Or
telling you everything.
For more info, go to apple.com.
You don't know, but that's
Right.
a commercial though,
Yeah,
at
you're
that
right.
point. Don't even mention
great to have here,
They
but
put
says-
on it talked about it's going to offer high definition streaming video. It's going to offer this, offer this. It's going through the whole
Wow.
thing. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, how is that news? It would be news saying, okay, Apple's got a new product coming out, and a new iPad. That's all you have to say. New iPad's coming
Right.
out. Done. But the whole news story going across the bottom of the screen was, it's going to feature this, it's going to retail at this price, it's going to come out.
Yeah.
It's an
on this
infomercial.
day.
Save that
It's
for
an
like-
infomercial for Apple. So how much money did Apple say to Fox News? And it wasn't just Fox News. It was on CNN.
Oh, no
the
kidding.
same type of blurb was going on. It was on. It was just.
So Apple was given all
It was
these.
Apple just sitting there calling up the news channels, going, "Hey, we'll give you a little extra, you know."
You do what a lot of channels do, like a tech corner
Yeah.
or like a media
Yeah.
center.
Well, yeah, you have a
5
little
minutes.
thing, but it's like,
But if
how
you
is
get-
that news?
Because if you
Right.
do that for the iPad 3, you're going to have to do it for the new Honda, the new 2012 Honda Accord. Here's all the new features.
But
of the
you're
2012.
seeing like a blurb about, you know, suicide bombing happens in such and such, and then it talks about blah blah blah, all this other stuff, and then all of a sudden, new iPad 2 has high definition streaming video. It's like,
Now, to play devil's advocate, though, isn't Apple currently the most what was it that I heard? It's the most profitable country.
country.
The
Yeah,
most
it is.
profitable
Pretty
country.
much is a
No,
country
the most,
now.
The most
isn't it?
profitable company in the world right now. Or,
Apple bought Fiji, so you are correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I believe it
So,
is. I think
is
what
that why
they're
it's
close
newsworthy?
to.
Because they're
maybe.
Are they just what's the milestone they're about to? Is it 10 billion apps downloaded?
probably 10 billion or is it 100 billion at this point?
Something along those lines. They're planning on giving.
But the
somebody
world seems to be
$200,000
just
to-
we're Apple crazy.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we're just like everything's Apple. Everything is like it's like and you're gonna find it pretty soon. Like for us people that went away from Apple and got like different phones, you're gonna be now. Oh wait a minute, you can't have this phone anymore because Apple now owns
Right,
the market.
right.
It's like your phone's not compatible
Yeah,
with
here
Verizon.
we are with our two Toshiba
Yeah, I know. Well,
computers
yeah,
and
yeah.
one Mac
Yeah,
behind us.
but it's gonna. Yeah, we're gonna
And
find
one
out
iPhone.
that we can't. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to use anything anymore because it's not Apple compatible.
Yeah.
But no, I just.
Well,
I'm noticing that like, news is
Microsoft
more
started that
entertainment.
first. Microsoft started that first. Let's not
Started
forget
what?
that.
The compatibility
that
issues?
you cannot use it unless it's Windows and Microsoft compatible. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
in fact, they were taken to court for that. So that's that and the monopoly.
But the.
Is
But
this
no, I'm just
somebody's or-
noticing that.
No, that's for you
Oh,
actually.
drink bottled water.
After I finish up my fourth Diet Coke.
But the whole
hour.
news itself has become entertainment and people's like their own opinions.
Yeah.
It's not like and it's sad if the sheep or the ditto heads or whatever you want to call
Sheeple.
people, the sheeple.
I call
And
my
I'm not
sister-
just saying the people listening to Rush, but people that are listening to Hannity, listening to when Oberman used to be on the air, listening to people like and taking everybody's like attitude and listen to whatever they said and took that as verbatim news.
Right.
Like, people shouldn't be watching Bill O'Reilly and taking everything Bill O'Reilly says as the solid news
Right.
of what's happening in the world. People should realize that all these shows are just shows. Like, it's not like they might have their little blurb of news during those shows where
Yeah.
they're like, okay, here's our point, counterpoint, here's this, here's that. Okay, and now here's our 5-minute news break, or here's our 10-minute
Yeah.
news break.
But I also think it's incumbent upon the viewers to be smart enough to be able to tell the difference between
Yeah. And
a
you-
news show and an analysis program.
And you're asking
Yeah.
a lot of those viewers, especially from the
And it's-
Midwest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but and again, it's not even,
Where they're-
and you
they're
can't blame it on one
craving.
political party because I
Right.
think it happens with liberals as well as
But I don't think there's
conservatives.
anything wrong with having
No.
analysis programs and straight news.
No.
Like both MSNBC and Fox, they have programming during the daytime
Yeah.
that is straight news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At night they have their analysis shows.
Yeah.
CNN doesn't really get into the analysis really since Lou Dobbs left. I mean that's pretty
Yeah.
much all straight news I think. And I
They
think
went
do
back
a
to
great
it. Then
job.
they started straight news. Then they kind
Yeah.
of they were losing in ratings. The CNN was like the third. Like I just read a recent book that I got. It was actually really an interesting book by John. I think it's John Gibson, who used to be with Fox.
Oh yeah, yep.
This was about, it's a right book. I mean, because
he's very conservative.
He's very conservative, but it talks about, and he's very anti-Oberman.
Well, they all are.
And the thing,
There's some on the left that are anti-Oberman.
and the
as
thing
well.
was,
Yeah.
and the thing about it,
Not a lot,
but
but
it's
there
funny
are.
though, because every chapter of this book, even if it's not talking about Oberman, because he has like 3 chapters devoted to Oberman, he has to bring Oberman up though.
Really?
Because, Oberman had no background in news. Oberman
He was
was
a
a
sports
baseball,
guy.
but he was a
Sports
baseball
guy.
card collector who got a job reading sports. Like, he had no sports background apart from the fact that he collected baseball cards.
Really?
And Oberman even admitted that.
Yeah.
Oberman was just a fan. He never had any background, never played the game, never did anything with the game. Just he collected baseball cards and he read the stats. And I guess on one of Oberman's shows, like many years ago, he showed some video of him being a pudgy, very effeminate young child
Yeah.
going to baseball games. And he even says on his show, because I used to watch Oberman.
Yeah.
I used to watch him from time to time. And I used to watch him when he was on like the Sports Center and stuff,
Sure.
because I liked him on Sports Center.
Yeah.
But he didn't have any background. Well, this book, Gibson has to point out in every chapter that Oberman was a baseball card collector. Like, he brings it up that he's not a news guy,
Right.
but yet he was the poster boy for MSNBC for a long time. He talks
He's
about
great
how
at what he does.
he got fired from Fox because he went to Fox for a while and got fired from
Yeah.
them, and because he does stuff that he gets himself fired for, because he'll say stuff that's a little like, he'll get too involved, or he'll
Sure.
lie about
What was
something.
the NBC, MSNBC? He donated. He made donations.
Well, that got him suspended.
That got him
didn't get him
suspended.
fired.
Suspended for that.
There's some mystery around what actually led to
It
his
was
very abrupt
It was
departure.
Abrupt, yes.
Yeah.
He's on Current now, and
Yeah,
hardly
Al
anybody
Gore's
watches
network.
Current
Yeah.
now.
No, but he just, and it was, I guess, a lot. But it's a fascinating book, and it's about how blogging and the liberal media makes Bush out to be this enemy that he really wasn't 100%. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of shows. This book is a fascinating book because he does write about how certain things were twisted in the media. And it's his writing about, from his experience, this John
Yeah.
Gibson, of course, and it was
Right.
just, and it talks a lot about the whole, like, issues that had happened, because the book's a couple of years old, but it talks
Yeah.
about, when Obama wins the election, and it talks about some of the stuff, some of the spin that was going on, some of the stuff with,
Really aggravating.
but
Staring
most
at
of
leaves.
most of it he focuses on Oberman got, because CNBC or MSNBC, I keep on putting those two together, but MSNBC was third in the ratings. It was failing.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause that station just was horrendous because they couldn't figure out what the hell they wanted to do.
Right.
And Fox was leading, CNN was ahead, and Oberman finally found the perfect thing to do,
Mm-hmm.
and that was attack Bush. And people tuned in. They thought it was funny. They thought it was amusing. They thought it was great. And he was sitting there, like, every night he would say, you're a terrorist, Mr. Bush. You should be put on trial. And it got people involved. So it brought MSNBC to number 2.
Right.
And
They found their
and-
niche.
and they found their niche.
Really as a counterbalance to Fox.
Yeah, yeah, and they finally, like, MSNBC finally started putting more programming on. So Oberman kind of helped that channel.
Oh, absolutely.
Yet they hung, they threw him out.
He became a liability.
Because he became a liability because he just went too far
Yeah.
with what he was
Oh,
doing.
yeah. Yeah.
And
So they replaced him with Lawrence O'Donnell, who used to guest host when Keith Olbermann was out.
but I guess there were certain times, and this book talks about it, where Gibson and him worked together. Gibson worked for the same station for a while with him and stuff when he worked for Fox, because Oberman worked for Fox for a while. And
Yeah.
and he was talking about there was times that Oberman refused to go do his show if there wasn't something negative he could talk about with Bush. If there was something positive, he would refuse to do the show, and he would actually call his bosses and say, "I'm not doing my show." That's when he'd have a guest host.
Oh, no kidding.
Because there was nothing negative to spew out about Bush.
Wow.
And he actually would call in and say, "I'm not going to do my show tonight. I'm not. There's
Yeah.
nothing I'm going to do on my show tonight." So that's why when you saw a guest host, it was because he would sit at his home and he would refuse to go and do the show. And it was something, and that was one of the reasons they put him on suspension
Well, that's just
for a
him
while too.
being a big baby.
Well, yeah, but that was another
He-
reason why they got rid of him.
He has that
reputation.
reputation, though.
Yeah.
He has a reputation for
Yeah.
being a real prick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's what. And I guess he got pissed one night. I was reading a thing in there too, where he got pissed one night. He went in, and this was in his own book. He's like, Gibson's quoting his Oberman's own book.
Yeah.
He goes into a bar one night, and these guys just start giving him a hard time because at the time, of course, he was complaining about Bush, and they basically called Oberman a prick. So he refused to do his job for like a week because these guys called him a prick. So it's just like
Wow.
just because it's because he did. He had that reputation.
Right,
where he
Yeah.
just,
now he's gonna stop watching our show.
I know Oberman's not going to be doing
No,
it. But,
Great, Dan.
but-
Great.
We're never gonna get to be on Current.
Fucking
But
A.
I know current.
Actually, we probably have a
Where
good
is
chance
where is
of getting
current? Where is it anyway? Is it on like the upper channels? Where is?
Just
Yeah.
past Ovation.
Isn't
where
that
they
the one
show
that had- don't they have,
15
like-
episodes of Fame?
But wasn't current the one that had cartoons? Like the current, like is that was the current event
No.
channel, wasn't
No,
it? That
it's
had,
Oberman at 8 and the Young Turks at 9, but it's mostly documentaries that they show during the day.
'Cause I
like
thought they
Who
had-
Killed the Electric Car, the people, the U.S. versus John Lennon. Actually,
I
those are
thought
pretty
that
much
was-
the only two documentaries.
I'm sure they show an Inconvenient
but I
Truth.
thought that was the same channel that had a cartoon show that was about pop culture and stuff.
I don't know.
Not that I know
Not
about.
that I'm aware. I
I
know
thought it
that
was.
Current hasn't existed that long.
coming in the spring, the Bill Press show and the Stephanie Miller show, which are two liberal, progressive, I should say, talk shows that they do. I think Bill Press is from 6 to 9, and Stephanie Miller is 9 to 12. They're actually going to start broadcasting those televised.
Oh, good.
So that's why I said we might actually have a pretty good chance. of
Right.
And Stephanie Miller is my goddess. She's my liberal goddess.
Yeah, I still need to check her out.
Yep. She comes from a Republican family. She's a comedian. She's a lesbian. I love her. So she gives Republicans credit, but she calls out the ones that deserve to be
Oh,
called
that's
out
good.
as well.
Yeah.
Matt in the chat room says I'm still here. It was quiet. I haven't heard from anybody since 10:03. So I put down hello. I just want to make sure that my internet connection was still
I've
on.
gotten some text messages, but because I made the soft promise, I'm not going to look at my text messages.
Yes.
I'm not going to. I see my phone is flashing, but I'm not going to pick it
But
up.
going back to where some people need to learn the difference between an analysis show and a news show, they crave information regardless of where it's coming from because they're still
Right.
on dial-up internet because that's all that's available to them. You know,
Yeah.
they don't have all of the cable channels like we do because it's not available to them.
They
They
might
just
not
still
even
have
have cable.
Yeah.
Right.
They probably didn't go out to get the digital
But if that's the
converter.
case, though, if they don't have cable, then they're getting local news, so they wouldn't even be getting the
Right.
analysis show. So,
There's a quote from The American President. I love that movie. It's a cute little movie.
I think it's overrated,
But
but most people
it's
like
a
it.
is that
cute
the Michael Douglas film?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a cute movie. You know, it's not to be taken.
Right. Right.
I don't think it was as good as a political presidential movie as Dave.
I loved
That's
Dave.
a much better
Oh,
movie.
Dave
I like Dave. That's
was a
better.
great movie. And it had more actual people from politics in that one than I think than American President.
Mm.
Tip O'Neill was in Dave. But the quote was when Michael Douglas and Michael J. Fox were talking, were saying, I don't know it verbatim, but the premises of it was if you drag the people to the desert, they're going to drink the sands because that's all that they have available. And Michael Douglas says, no, they're going to drink the sand because they don't know the difference between the sand and the water. It's like, it's something along those lines. Those people are going to turn to Rush Limbaugh for their news because they don't
Right.
know any better.
Right.
They're
Well,
going to
pl-
be drinking the sand.
Well, plus people want to hear everything through the ideological prism that they're comfortable with. It's like a close friend of mine said to me recently, I don't like to hear the other side. And it's like, well, that's the problem with a lot of people. No one wants to hear the other side.
Yeah.
I try to absorb as much information as possible from
both sides.
right,
Yeah.
which is why I have to be an independent because
Yeah. And when you mentioned on this morning's show that you listen to 96.9, I was actually kind of surprised by that, or the fact that you like 96.9
Yeah.
because it is predominantly conservative.
well,
I think there are more conservative
There-
hosts than there are.
there is
Liberal hosts
there
or
is Jim,
moderate hosts.
Jim and I don't know if you ever hear Jim and Marjorie in the morning, but
Yeah,
they're-
Jim Brody.
Jim Browdy, he's
Browdy, yeah.
liberal, and Marjorie's pretty moderate to liberal herself. But there's a conservative talk show host I really enjoy, John Batchelor, who's on in the evenings. He's a syndicated guy, but he doesn't do the typical angry white guy conservative talk show host thing where he doesn't just spew Republican talking points and then callers call in and agree with him, which is what a lot of these shows are.
Yeah.
He doesn't take calls actually from listeners, but he's very sophisticated and doesn't wear his ideology on his sleeve. He definitely looks at things through a conservative prism, but not in the typical way. Like he does. Well, for example, he believes in science. He's very interested in science. You know, he doesn't spend a lot of time. He's not a talking points guy. He's 10 times smarter than Rush Limbaugh will ever be. But no, I do like a lot of the programming on 96.9.
I remember Jim and Marjorie. I remember listening to them, and I was entertained by their back and forth. But isn't Laura Ingraham on 96.9? Is her syndicated show on that anymore?
No,
oh, okay.
That's long gone. Yeah, I don't like her. She's a
well, when she sounds like this,
yeah, she's a talking
and the
points
Democrats, it's like
her and Sean Hannity, another guy, completely incapable of any independent thought, or at least won't say anything.
I was talking about Hannity the other night because I liked Hannity when he had Combs.
Yeah,
that show was a great show when you had him and Combs together because you actually had two great points of view.
Yes,
right,
but Combs got swallowed.
He did. I mean, Combs
he allowed himself. He allowed himself that
after a while, but it was.
And it was the same with Crossfire. Was it him and Tucker Carlson?
I think it was him and Tucker.
Or was it Paul Begala?
You're thinking of Paul Begala was on Crossfire.
Combs went on to after though, because Combs left Hannity and Combs. He went on to something else.
He still does his radio show on
he had
Fox
a TV
News
show,
Radio,
though,
which is
for a
very
short
good.
period of time.
Oh, I never saw his.
He had somebody on his other, but I think he tried to do it on his own.
Oh,
I think
okay.
he tried to do a show on his own, and he just couldn't do it.
Oh.
Well, my friend Matt says people only hear what they want to hear, or they keep searching until they find what they want to hear.
Agreed.
That aligns with their views.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, last night, the Sarah Palin movie debuted on HBO, and I watched it.
Oh, I have to get HBO.
I watched it. It was it was very fascinating.
Yeah, it's getting great reviews.
Her portrayal, Julianne Moore's portrayal, was phenomenal. What's his name?
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris. I was going to say Ed O'Neill, but that's Ed O'Neill's portrayal.
Well, he's just as old as McCain.
Ed Harris's portrayal of McCain was fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, and they all did a great job.
Woody Harrelson and
Steve Schmidt, he did a great job. And the funny thing is of course, Anderson Cooper's actually in the movie. They actually use like real footage, and they digitally put them in. So you had all these Barack Obama's in there. You have like they do the Biden Palin debate, and you really have Biden there, and you have her.
Oh yeah.
And it's fascinating watching the movie because, and they're not really picking on her as much as I thought they were going to. And it kind of reminded me of when I finally watched W. Because everybody was talking about how Oliver Stone was going to bury W.
Right, and it wasn't.
And it wasn't
like
that way. He actually, the only thing he was trying to show in W was that Bush was religious, and that was his attack on Bush, and it wasn't we knew that. We knew that that was the only thing he was really attacking Bush on.
Showing kind of like
and
the
then
party boy.
And he was a party boy.
So
it was like we knew that though.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like there wasn't anything new in W. And W I didn't think was a bad movie. I expected it to be worse.
Yeah.
And people that I knew were refusing to see it because they're like, oh, Oliver Stone, he's going to turn it into this this trashy
a Michael Moore version.
And I'm like, no, it really the only thing he attacks him on is being religious and being a party animal in college. We already knew that. It's okay. So I'm watching the Palin movie last night, and I watched it again today, and it's her character of it. And they have her watching Tina Fey throughout it.
I read that. I read that in a recap.
And she's getting upset because she's being picked on. But it basically they take her from nothing.
So it's somebody who's imitating Sarah Palin watching somebody imitate Sarah
Palin getting upset that that she's being looked at as a fool. And it basically just it shows that she's an intelligent woman. She just doesn't know anything about foreign policy.
Right.
She just doesn't know anything about and she's a really stubborn kind of bitchy in some aspects where at some point...
I can tell you from personal experience that, yes, there is a bitchy quality to Sarah Palin.
She...
Absolutely. High and mighty quality to Sarah Palin. When I was at the Radisson, yes. But people on the right, part of the McCain administration have even said recently before the movie came out, they're not going to see the movie, but they said, the woman had only a few days to be vetted for the VP.
They give her 5 days.
Yeah.
They give her
Where
5
people
days.
have months.
Oh yeah,
A lot of
and,
people
and
have
there was stuff that they didn't find out, and you find this out, and I didn't deem it as a really negative movie. Like, it didn't seem like it was really that negative against her. I mean, it makes her look like, yeah, she's a little bit of a rube in certain things because she's one of these, bumpkins from Alaska.
Right.
And they give her that little bit of it where she's just like a simple girl from Alaska. But when she starts giving this whole, like, this is my campaign, she talks about it being a vice presidential campaign, she talks about how she's the one raising all the money. But if you think about it, she's, people are talking about her today. People are, people go to the tea parties when she's there. People
she's
go to her
still
different
very much in the
speeches.
public eye.
She's
with,
in the public
Fox
eye.
News.
People have her out there. But it's just some of the stuff that they'll do. It's kind of funny because you'll have like those reenactments of the Katie Couric interview, the reenactments of the Charles Gibson interview,
Was it Katie Couric?
Oh yeah, no, there's no act. They didn't. They barely use a lot of actors or actresses in this. Just the main people that were involved in the campaign.
So it was like,
and then the rest of it is
you'll
all
see
footage.
Katie, and then
Yeah.
they'll
Oh, yeah.
insert her.
Yeah, it's all.
I was
so-
curious about that one.
Yeah, it's all. So they didn't hire a lot of actors. It's just like the people that are pretty much the primary characters. And I mean, the people they chose for her family, like I thought that the casting of her family were dead on. Like it looked like her daughters. It looks like her, those.
Is Levi in it?
Levi makes an appearance, and she makes a comment about, he says like his character comes in and says, "Hey, I cut off my mullet." And he goes, "I really didn't want to cut the mullet, right before the convention." And she's
in
like,
the front,
"Yeah,"
party in the back.
and she's kind of very tense of him being there and stuff. But no, it was.
I read that, and you were mentioning W,
Mhm.
that there wasn't a lot that people who knew Sarah Palin, there wasn't a lot that we learned about her from this film.
Mhm.
That was actually more about Steve Schmidt,
Yeah.
somebody people may not be familiar with.
Yeah. But he's more the focal point of the film.
And it was his
It's-
book,
it's-
right?
What he no,
Did
he
he
didn't
do
write
Game
it.
Change?
No, Game
No.
Change was written
Oh,
by.
he was the one who wrote off on the movie. He was the one who actually gave the permission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Game Change
Palin
is,
wouldn't, McCain wouldn't.
Mark Halpern and.
So the focal point became more Steve Schmidt.
Yeah.
Why can't I remember the other guy's name? I can picture him, but I can't see him. Mark Halpern. And, wow, I can't remember the other guy's name. I can picture him, but I can't see him. I mean, I can see him, but I can't remember his name.
So I was supposed to, while I was
John Heilman.
John,
Yep.
while I was on vacation, I was supposed to update my Comcast to get HBO, but I wasn't able to do that while I was on vacation.
Yeah.
But this is one of the reasons why I want to get HBO now.
Yes. Yeah,
Because
that's
I'm
True
with Bill
Blood's
Maher.
coming on.
True Blood, yeah.
But the no, it was I
we
I was
ever
surprised
really-
by it.
To get, well, we just left it at going back to where we were. Sorry.
Did you just have a mini
I
stroke?
just had a mini stroke. I did.
Mini stroke?
No, we
It's all
didn't.
that coke.
It's not like we're gonna have a definitive answer on it, but
Mhm.
do we even really come to a conclusion on the whole Bill Maher, Rush Limbaugh, Barack Obama?
Oh!
Kind of just trailed off.
No, but-
we kind of went off on about just like it's entertainment, not news, and we got on like the whole
Yeah.
thing about like people in the news.
An interesting
But-
detail was left out, though. Did you guys know that Bill Maher actually has defended, was one of the few people to actually defend Rush Limbaugh on this
Well,
whole thing?
probably because of freedom of speech, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
because of
it's-
what happened to Bill
yeah,
Maher when
yeah.
he made his comment and then
Yeah.
he was out of a job at ABC.
Yeah. Well, no, and I again, I can see somebody like a Bill Maher defending Rush for freedom of speech. Anybody
Yeah.
that's in those situations are
Sure.
going to defend their fellow,
Sure.
whatever you want to call them, if they're not entertainers, whatever they are.
Glenn showed me a news item earlier that Gloria Steinem and Jane Fonda are calling for Rush to be fired.
Really,
Yeah.
for that, they're
Yeah.
I got that from news.com.
Yeah. Which I would not.
go to that extreme.
No.
No.
No, I think,
I know.
let-
I know Jane Fonda. We all know the story behind Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
Is she relevant right now?
no.
No.
Okay.
Isn't that the Jane Fonda back in the 80s that lost her
Hanoi
orange,
Jane.
her orange commercial because she was so much against gays?
That I don't remember.
She lost her what commercial?
She was doing commercial for
Orange juice?
For orange juice?
Florida orange juice. And,
Because she was what?
I'm
anti-gay,
talking
she
about the
lost-
Vietnam
Yeah.
situation. That,
she lost her.
and Gloria Steinem.
Who is that?
From National Organization of Women, I think,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
And she also was a Playboy bunny for.
Oh, was
worked at
she?
the Bunny
Is she?
Club. Yeah,
Wait,
did.
who is
Gloria Steinem, like, she never posed for Playboy, but she worked in the Playboy Club.
I know. She's an author too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's very well known for, like, standing up for women's rights and everything. She's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a quick, like, side note, or I'm getting sidetracked. Who is Anderson Cooper's mother?
That's the designer. That's what's her name? I can't think of it off the top of my head now.
I just said her name
I
earlier
don't
today.
know.
Wouldn't you
Yeah.
believe it?
It's what's her name? I can't even think of it.
I didn't
off
know
the
he
top
had a
of my head.
famous mother. I
Yeah,
didn't
his mother's
realize.
very famous.
Huh.
Anyone?
So,
Anyone over there?
I'm trying to think off the
Anderson
top of my head.
Cooper?
And you're gonna tell it to me, and she's right on the tip of my tongue.
It's not Gloria Ulrich, is it? No.
Vanderbilt.
Gloria Vanderbilt. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Larry Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I knew it was. I was just talking
You knew it
about
was a Gloria.
and
Yeah,
I'm
you
no,
know it was
No.
Gloria, but
Is that a stage name?
possibly
Or her maiden name?
for all of those actors and actors. Cary Grant was a stage name.
Davis
Davis Jones.
Davis Jones was his name. So
Geraldo Rivera's a stage name.
Really?
Did you know that?
you'd think you would pick a better name, but that's a sexy name though.
Something about that man is fake? Get out of town.
And it's not the mustache.
No,
It's
the
not the
mustache
mustache.
is real.
It's as real as the name he's chosen.
It's more real than that.
Wow.
But just as ethnic.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to go back to that though. Where
What?
with Bill Maher.
Yes.
Bill Maher is the one who gave the money, so he's
Yes.
technically the sponsor. So now, do you really think that Barack Obama should give the
Well, he's
money
not
back?
gonna he's not gonna give the money back. We know that's not gonna happen. But should he at least acknowledge?
Because
it?
I think that's where the
'Cause
similarities between
the women's
Rush.
group are the ones also going. Why aren't Jane Fonda and Gloria making comments to Obama saying, "Well, you've taken money from this man that's demeaning to women"?
Because he's a comedian. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not.
But
he's,
it's okay for a comedian to
But
say.
all right,
disparaging
we're
or
going
where's
back to
the
that.
double
We're
standard,
going
is what I'm
back to that.
saying.
We're going back to that.
If you're
We're-
insulting to
we're-
a woman, it shouldn't
okay.
matter who you are, though.
But Bill Maher is not the de facto spokesman for the Democratic Party.
So far,
He
what
could
has
be.
happened is
He could be, though.
so far what has happened is sponsors have pulled their advertising.
Yes.
That's what's happened so far. We're
Yes.
not even talking about if he's going to be suspended or not.
No.
Bill
Probably
Maher
won't get
doesn't
suspended.
have sponsors other than those who pay for premium
Yeah.
channels.
Premium channel.
So
he's
there
been-
really is no similarity because
The only other
thing that's
sponsors
happening
he
is
has he has
the bigger
uh,
similarity is Bill Maher donating to Barack Obama
Yeah.
because he's now sponsoring.
But now it's in Obama's hands where they're basically saying you're taking money from somebody that's made disparaging remarks against women. The feminists are saying to Obama now, so it's okay for Bill Maher because he's a comedian. It's
But the
okay
right
for
went
Bill
after,
Maher.
The right went after Bill Maher. The left went after Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
The only major difference is
But-
he had major sponsors that pulled their advertising.
Yeah, they pulled their
The-
advertising.
if you want to show Bill Maher a lesson, drop your HBO subscription.
Right, exactly. Let the free market
Yeah.
deal with it, just as
Well,
with
right now
Rush
I'm not
Limbaugh.
paying for it.
Or
So
like
I
I
got 6
said,
months free.
or
so
like I
I'm
said, do the opposite with Rush Limbaugh. Put him solely on satellite radio, so it's the subscription fee is paying for his.
Well, yeah,
radio
you're
show.
paying for his, but
And
there's
his
still
salary.
there's still
But
commercials.
there's people on the
satellite
right that have completely condemned Bill Maher, and there's people on the left
radio.
who
See,
condemn
that's the
Rush
thing about
Limbaugh.
satellite radio. Satellite radio still has ad revenue because there's still commercials on satellite radio.
Sure.
It's not
But
commercial
what
free.
really blew this out of the water is the fact that these multi-million-dollar corporations, AOL, Quicken Loans, they pulled their
Yeah,
sponsorship.
because they don't want to be associated
Right.
with
Right.
that because they don't want to have any of the
And-
backlash of.
And I listen to the progressive
Disparaging
side of
remarks.
things. I listen to the progressive radios who also share the same advertisers, and they admit, they say, advertising for any talk radio whatsoever, other than sports, but political talk radio is difficult because you could say a single thing that goes against somebody's value.
I broke my rule because
I know you
to
did.
some political interjection.
Oh,
Usually
oh.
she'll send something.
But it's very difficult. That's why a lot of times these people will do. I'm going to put half the advertisement in progressive, the other half in conservative.
Yeah.
It's a crapshoot. And on the progressive side, they said if you support this, don't try and take these things away from Rush. A lot of times those websites have the little box that say for the promotional.
Yeah. When you're watching Hulu
You
or
put
something like
right.
that,
You
click
put
on
the,
it.
you put
Yeah.
the progressive side of it.
Yeah.
You know, don't put Rush sucks or anything like that. Just use Stephanie for Stephanie Miller or
Yeah.
Ed for the Ed Schultz
Yeah.
show. Same thing, you know, if it's
Now, the thing that gets me, though, is what I'm saying is when the press have asked Obama about this, he hasn't even acknowledged it. he kind of pushes them away and walks away and doesn't even make a comment. Like, he's yet to stand up and say, you know, he's a comedian, he has a right to his, like, and he's not defending anybody, he's not, like, so he's not even...
Has he defended Bill Maher?
He's
Or
not,
has
no,
he just
hasn't.
accepted
He's,
his money?
He's accepted the money, and he's ignoring any of the questions that have been applied to him when people ask him, do you feel that
Then
it's
I
right?
think he's just playing it smart right now.
He's
I
he's
think he just
being
wants
quiet.
to shut
He's
up,
just
sit in the
walking-
corner, and
yeah,
go.
and he just walks away, and he'll shift the question to another. He's doing a political thing. He's doing the politician thing.
Like
He's
we
shifting
talked
it,
about
but-
the whole contraception thing.
Mhm.
That I think you had mentioned that you thought it wasn't a very smart idea for him to bring this up, but I thought it was. I thought it's now brilliant so that people can see just how crazy some of these
Rope-a-dope,
Republicans
yeah.
can get.
Yeah.
I think they saw the piranhas and they went, here's a little bit of meat. Go,
Right.
go.
Right.
And just watch them swarm. Just watch them swarm.
The other thing that was a little disappointing.
Oh, sorry. Obama won't give the money back, and if people have a problem with it, they won't vote for him in November.
Well, yeah. That's
No,
true.
there you go.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I mean, people, and I mean, he may lose some of the feminist vote if it's that big of an issue to them.
Yeah.
Like like.
But they're not going to.
national-
Well, actually, though, he's insulated from that, isn't he? What are the feminists going to do? They can't go to the other side because then they're going to the
Because
party
they're going
that's
to the party
that they
with
perceive as being
contraception. Yeah.
anti-contraception.
So are they gonna vote like independent? Are they gonna put
No, they'll
Ron
stick
Paul
with
in?
they'll stick with
No, they're
Obama
gonna-
as the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, yeah. They'll look at it as.
So he is playing it smart.
Well,
You're right.
Well, they'll probably look at it as, well, yeah, Bill Maher's a comedian. He said the C word. He's called our fellow women, but they're Republican women, so it's okay. That's what they'll do because it always happens that way. It's okay.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's not okay for me to go up to your mother and call your mother a C word, and have you be okay with that because I'm saying it.
Not
in a
unless
joking
everybody
manner.
thinks she's.
But
a
you know,
C
but
word.
you know what I'm saying though. It's like
Yeah.
it's not. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
We can sit here and joke about each other's mothers because we have fun with that. But I'm saying though, it's
Both
not.
of you have raped my mother.
Yes,
so.
and yes, and she's not getting as good as she used to be.
I know.
So
Yeah.
It's
She could.
the
She
badge
gets
is
tired.
It's the badge is still.
Can maybe you could talk to her.
Dried out a little.
She could dress a little
But-
sexier.
But the other thing that I was a little disappointed with was we were talking about Andrew Breitbart passing away, and he had this secret video that was coming out. Did you see any of the video that came out? This
yeah. What?
Like
I
that
didn't.
It was super hyped.
I missed it.
And then it was, now I liked, the only thing I liked about it was they have the video after the fact where they're saying, yes, we covered up this evidence for the election. We cut out this part of Obama hugging him because we didn't want to ruin, and it was like, is there more footage than that is what I'd like to know. I want to know if there's more footage than that because that's not that damning of evidence.
What drives me nuts about it
Wait,
is
Obama hugging who?
Obama, when he was in Harvard,
Yeah.
there was, he was at a rally.
Yeah.
A civil rights rally for the what's the professor's name?
I don't
off
even
the top of my
remember the
head
guy.
here.
I don't even
But
remember.
the professor is a known professor to be very anti-white because he's a black man that had a really rough time. He very black power, very extreme person.
My brother.
And there was no secret that Obama was that way. I mean, the video shows, and it was WGBH that actually had the footage, and WGBH acknowledged that they edited the footage for this news program. He says a bunch of stuff at the beginning of this speech to bring out this gentleman because it was some rally, some protest rally that they're at. The footage has him hugging the gentleman, and then he goes on with his speech. Well, when Obama was running his campaign, Obama's people took that news footage and they edited out him hugging and edited out parts of the speech because they didn't want to have an association with this man because he was known to be a very
Like a Louis Farrakhan type.
beyond
Radical.
with a lot of his ideas and everything. And so it's very damning evidence for that type of like, because it's the media, and the other and the other big deal about it is the other news channels knew that it's missing footage. WGBH acknowledged they edited the footage, and they wouldn't allow this footage to ever be released until recently because now he's in. And the other footage that came out was the person. Was he the campaign manager? I forget the gentleman who he was now, but it was somebody that was on Obama's campaign. He was speaking at a college. He shows the unedited footage, and he talks to this group of people and says, well, we couldn't have showed this. I edited it out because we never would have been able to show this back before the election because he probably wouldn't have gotten elected, so we went ahead and we edited this all out. And that's the other damning evidence so far. Now, supposedly there's more video too of this radical extreme college video. But I was hoping for it to be like footage of him snorting cocaine off a hooker's. Like I wanted to see more of a smoking gun. It wasn't as big of a video as I thought it was going to be.
I think it's completely innocuous.
But
and then watching people like Sean Hannity reacting like,
well,
oh my God, look at this video.
Hannity has spent all week on it. Like every episode of
course.
Hannity's show, he's been playing the video. He's had people on his panel,
It makes
and he's
him look
gone over,
stupid.
he's gone over about it, and he's called in the experts on it, and it's like
It's so innocuous.
but
it's
it's like
nothing.
it's like 2 minutes of
That's
footage.
from 20 years
It's
ago.
a hug. It's a hug.
Is it the Zapruder films? Is it
It's a hug. It's basically a hug
back
so
into
far.
the left?
And
back into the
and
left.
Andrew's people say they have more footage. Like they're
Well, I
giving
hope
us
so,
a taste.
'cause
They're
I'm
giving us a
snippets.
taste. Like it's one of these little tastes.
Oh boy.
But it's like, but that's what they release, and I'm sitting there going, "There's got to be more. There's got to be more
You're like
because
sitting there with popcorn going, what?
if
That's
whoever
it?
gets the nomination, it looks like it's going to be Romney at this point, but who knows? Santorum could hit one out of the
Broker
park.
convention.
You
Broker
know,
convention.
but whoever
It's looking like it.
I
you know,
really
it's
hope
looking
so.
like it.
you know, whoever you know, if they're expecting to even get a
Otherwise-
chance,
otherwise-
there's got to be more footage.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be 2004 all over again.
There's got to be more
Where
footage.
we were so happy. Well, none of us were really happy to have Kerry. I'm from Massachusetts, and I didn't care about Kerry.
Right.
Well, the
Well,
thing
it was somebody
the
other
thing
than
I never
Bush.
realized, and I never realized this, and people have always picked on W. Did you know that W actually got better grades in Yale than Kerry did? That he actually like.
I
had-
heard that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I've
never
heard
realized
that.
that. I never realized that, and I was recently reading some article about the fact that they were always talking about how much of a Rube he was, but yet. You know, everybody was always
doesn't
talking
mean anything.
about.
You
he's
can
just, he just can't. He's a smart man, but he just doesn't know how to project it. He doesn't know how to speak. He doesn't know how to.
I guess he gets a kind of a bad rap if you look at him and you're like, wow, you are Alfred E. Newman's twin brother, aren't you? When you
I
was
mean, we
young.
all know that Jeb was the smarter brother, but I mean, come on, Jeb. just, you know.
Santorum was hoping to get
You-
delegates from Pennsylvania and Texas. That he thinks he can win him the nomination. That's from my friend Matt down in Leominster.
I was just saying something
Well,
about
they all want the delegates.
Santorum and math here, because it says right now, facing arguments that Mitt Romney's delegate lead is virtually unbeatable. Rick Santorum today made his own case as to how the delegate math could work in his favor, because Romney currently leads with 454 delegates, and Santorum follows with 217. Newt is with 107, and Ron Paul has 47. Wow, Ron Paul actually has 47.
John Huntsman still has 2.
John Huntsman's got 2. All right.
Good.
And it says to secure the nomination, candidate needs
Well, actually, this is
1144. So he's saying, yeah, Santorum says this isn't a mathematical formula. This race has a tremendous amount of dynamics, so they
It
got a lot of
does.
states coming up. So
Because I like to cite my sources, the New York Times actually has a pretty decent Republican delegate counter.
they're right on the money, according to
Yeah.
Santorum could do very well in some of these southern primaries.
yeah.
And there's still 1,459 delegates remaining.
And Romney it isn't likely, regardless, to make it to 1144 before the convention. And if he doesn't make it to 1144, even if he has a plurality, we could see for the first time in 60 years a brokered convention.
Yeah.
It might actually happen.
It could happen.
It may happen.
It's very exciting.
It could go all the way.
Very exciting.
That's all I got.
That's all,
That's
you
all I got
That's
for
all you
tonight.
got. But the
That's my cue for I have to use the
I do
I have
too.
to piss like a racehorse, so
the
why don't we?
men's room.
I have to piss like 2 racehorses.
Well, I wanted to make it a short night anyway because I've had a migraine this whole time. So
Did that make you feel better
you
by
made me feel better by showing you. It's like, wow,
my flight made it in safely?
you're good. Well, that wasn't good.
What do we have actually coming up this week for delegates? There's any
Alabama, Mississippi.
Alabama, Mississippi.
There's one more.
I'm guessing at least one of those going to Santorum.
I'm gonna predict both go to Santorum. I think he's going to do very well in the South.
I
Well, Gingrich says he's going
Agree.
to get one of those states. He
No.
wants Alabama.
Well,
I am thankful
good luck to him.
for my sister and brother-in-law who live in Georgia who are Republicans, registered Republicans. They hate Obama. But I don't believe that they're going to be throwing their vote anywhere near either Santorum or Gingrich's way.
Yeah.
According to this poll from the car manufacturer Infinity, because they know.
Well, according to
They're
this
poli-
poll, you're a
they're-
hot-looking guy.
They're political.
So-
The poll they're asking is who has the best chance of beating Obama. They're saying 48.3% say Mitt Romney, Rick Santorum comes in at 21.69%.
I'm going to challenge.
What is?
Let me just say very quickly, though, I want to challenge the conventional wisdom on who is the better general election candidate. I know everyone thinks it's Romney, and that's probably true, but I will make the case very quickly for Santorum because Santorum can energize the base of the Republican Party with his conservatism to come out and vote on Election Day, whereas Romney, because conservatives aren't excited about him, they might just stay home. And energizing the base can work. It worked for Bush in 2004. The reason Bush won Ohio is because Karl Rove made sure that gay marriage was on the ballot in referendum across Ohio, which brought out the conservatives who are all freaked out about gay marriage. So it got them motivated to come out and vote, and that's how Bush won Ohio and ultimately winning a second term despite a disastrous Iraq war and everything he had going against him. And Santorum, if Santorum can win the nomination and inspire conservatives to come out and vote, he may actually, in that regard, be a stronger general election candidate than Romney. Because Romney, no one's going to get excited about Romney. Nobody.
I think he shot himself in the foot recently by saying he is a severe conservative. Is that what he said?
Oh, Romney, yes, he's a severe
Romney.
Conservative.
No, you cannot. No, you can't run on that right now.
No.
You need somebody with somewhat moderate. And he was a moderate governor in Massachusetts.
Yeah, well, we don't know
ran
who the real
conservative,
Mitt Romney is.
but
Yeah.
he doesn't know it.
Well, he's been moderate, but then of course his advisors are saying to him, "We don't need moderate right now. You need to be able to," and he's changed. He's flip flopping his stance on things because obviously his people are telling him you can't be as moderate as you normally are because you're not going to win the party.
I'm going to ask a stupid question, I'm sorry, because coming up March 13th on Tuesday, which is also my sister's birthday, happy birthday, Stacey, Alabama, Hawaii, Mississippi, is that AS? I'm thinking it's Arkansas, but it's capital A, capital S, or is there another?
Arkansas is AK, isn't it?
It
Arkansas
is.
AK.
Alaska.
AS, is that a?
Oh, wait, no, or is Alaska AK?
Alaska.
Oh, so
The
Arkansas.
reason I ask is
Oh,
because
so
they have-
Arkansas is AS then.
But
You're
it's
right.
capital A, capital S.
Is that another
Just like
island?
they have capital V, capital I for the
Oh.
Virgin Islands.
That's American Samoa.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you.
right.
Thank you.
You're right.
I'm sitting there. I couldn't figure it out. Oh, but
Oh, Arkansas is AR, isn't it?
I
Yes.
think you're right.
Yeah, okay.
March 17th, St. Patty's Day will be Missouri, and then the day after, March 18th,
Puerto
which is
Rico.
Sunday, Puerto Rico. So we have a couple of small ones coming up. It's only
I would, Puerto Rico, I think, will go to Romney.
probably.
Because Hispanics have got to be
I-
freaked out by conservatives.
I will be curious about April 3rd because that will be Washington D.C.'s. That will be D.C.'s primary. caucus.
Santorum is not on the ballot in D.C.
Oh, I would have loved to see that
This is just
matchup.
Newt and,
Right in the heart of D.C.
Yeah.
But yeah, we still got a lot to go. We still have a lot of states and commonwealths or islands to go.
California will go to Romney.
what other commonwealths? Do we
New
have?
York will go to Romney.
Well, we still have this American Samoa,
Yeah.
Puerto Rico. I thought I saw another one in there somewhere.
Maybe,
No,
Puerto-
maybe I think they're all states coming up left after that.
I'm going to revise my Puerto Rico prediction. Maybe that will go to Santorum because Hispanics tend to be Catholic.
That's true. That's true.
I find it funny that most of the islands can't actually vote in the presidential election, but they do for the primaries. That's my friend Matt.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico could.
Puerto Rico votes in the general election.
Oh well. So we got a whole lot of stuff coming up.
This is the most fun.
This is the most fun
campaign
primary,
cycle
yeah.
ever.
Yeah, I mean it was in 2008. McCain was the front runner, then he lost it. Hillary was for a little while, and then it was just Obama.
Yeah.
So there was no excitement really
Right.
other than it's going to be our first black president.
Right,
you
but
know.
we knew how
But
it was all going to turn
the
out.
Republicans had a fairly exciting one up until.
And when you watch that movie,
Because when
you watch
McCain
the
got his
movie,
momentum, he kept it going.
Yeah.
We've got Palin. Okay, now it's really.
they seem to blame it, of course, on her in the movie. Because
Mm-hmm.
you watch the movie, they blame it kind of on picking her, but they also blame it on. When you watch the movie, they blame it on the fact that it was a celebrity running against a statesman. That's a term that they use. in the
Right.
movie, that it was really hard to fight Obama's celebrityism because he was on every
Right.
single magazine. He was,
Oh, sure.
going to
Yeah.
foreign countries. He was like, people were looking
Sure.
at him as the next coming. Because remember, he was the second coming of Christ.
I don't think
People,
I know
yeah.
someone who refers to him as Chocolate Jesus.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anyone McCain could have picked. I mean, granted, there's probably not many he could have picked worse than Palin.
Yeah.
But even if he had picked a phenomenal running mate,
Well,
I
they
still
were,
don't
like,
think it would have mattered.
The thing they were saying in the movie too is like if he would have went with his initial choice and had a split and had Lieberman, because that's what he originally wanted to do. He wanted to
Right.
make it him and his buddy Lieberman and
Yeah.
try to make the parties come together. And there's kind of like the movie hints about it, and there was also talk kind
Just
of
like
after
John
the
Kerry
fact.
wanted McCain to be his running
Yeah.
mate in
and that you know
2004.
would have been a great
Yeah.
way to kind of get the parties together.
Right.
But there's always that problem with either party wouldn't accept it. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
Right,
that's, and that's the
exactly.
problem. Would
Exactly.
the parties accept it? Would you lose a vote that way? You
It,
know,
it sounds great until
it sounds great on
doesn't.
paper.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
But
Where
when
you
it
could
actually
gain a vote,
happens,
you
would
could
it gain a
easily
vote or would you
lose
lose a
so
vote?
many.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it would make sense. It would make sense if one day one candidate actually did that. If
Mhm.
somebody decided that you could actually get a really good Republican, a really good Democrat together,
Mhm.
and had a ticket that was the two of them together.
Yeah.
Vice President Nancy Pelosi. No.
No, not Pelosi.
Oh my goodness.
I just made several Republicans lose their erections by saying
But
that.
but mine just crawled right back into my stomach.
Yeah.
Just went right in it. But no, that I mean,
Nancy
it is
Pelosi.
kind of fascinating to think if that would ever happen in this day and age. If you would ever
We'll see.
that a split ticket like that. If you'd ever see that ever, you know. Or would you ever see a woman and a black man running together? Would you see that?
I thought we were going to. I thought
Hillary
Obama was
Obama.
going to pick Hillary
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
went with Biden instead.
There was a lot of speculation about that. There's a lot of excitement.
Yeah, but
about the
wasn't
prospect.
she like pretty much like didn't she bury her own grave though with that whole thing by
She
really
really didn't want it.
Yeah.
She wanted first place, not second
yeah,
place.
Yeah.
like wasn't it really her
Yeah.
like you know
Yeah, I
So.
think pretty early on, after losing her momentum, she knew she was going for Secretary of State.
no.
Because I think Bill would have been able to more advise her to foreign affairs. No pun intended.
I like foreign
But I'm bummed.
Hey.
Then
I
it would be
get
to
her
be
in a
vice
French
president.
maid.
Yeah.
That's foreign affairs.
I like Cuban cigars.
Yeah,
That's foreign. That's
foreign
foreign.
affairs as well.
Although
Go
nothing,
into foreign
nothing
places.
about the idea of Monica Lewinsky in a French maid's outfit
Yeah.
is exciting at
Yeah.
all. Speaking of losing erections.
Yeah.
Wonder
All
what
right, so
she's
I just did
doing
it to
nowadays.
the Republicans and
Wonder what
Democrats.
Monica Lewinsky's up to nowadays. She was
Jaded.
designing purses. What she
I
was,
heard she's on
She's
Jaded.
on Jaded. What she was designing purses. She tried to start her own business. What is she doing now? Is she spot remover? Is she going out there with like a new cleaning agent? But I mean, there's somebody that you don't. Well, that's somebody that you don't hear about anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like her 15 minutes was
Yeah.
pretty much over and done with. And
Yeah.
it's like nobody's talking about her anymore, or Linda Tripp, or any of those people anymore.
Thank you. I
Linda
couldn't
Tripp,
remember.
wow.
Was Linda Tripp Paula?
Well, Paula Jones.
Paula
that
Jones. There was
the
the
other-
Jennifer Flowers.
Jennifer Flowers. But I'm saying Linda Tripp didn't sleep with her claim. Linda Tripp was the one that
Recorded.
had the tapes.
Linda
Yes.
Tripp is not.
No.
Oh, John Goodman as Linda Tripp was always hilarious.
Yes.
Hello, Monica. All right. Well,
Yes.
so we have a lot of primaries and caucuses coming up.
A lot of cock coming up.
A lot of cock coming up because it's verbal ejaculation.
A lot of cock.
I'm closing it down. Closing it down. Sorry.
A lot
Oh,
of
I
cock.
closed it on my friend Matt in the chat room. So if you're still in the chat room, Matt, sorry. I have to pee.
It's that you've been on a plane.
We don't have a commercial. See, we don't have a commercial break. That's what we need.
We could take commercial
The
breaks.
Ustream does it, but
Why couldn't we?
that's true. We could probably start making our own commercials.
Why couldn't we? If we're on video now, why couldn't we have little video vignettes or little video trivia?
It's true, they've got a little DVD player
We
over
could do
there.
that. Why couldn't we have little bits?
See, I would show you
That's,
my
you know.
I do my Coke World trip for you, but you
Yeah.
would make fun of it.
So I probably would. I'd
Yes,
make fun of
this
you
is
for
also
it.
why I showed up here right now.
I saw your footage that was posted on Facebook of parts of your trip. Right?
Yes.
You had some photographs.
Matt says good night. Good night, Matt. We're wrapping
Good
it
night,
up. But again, this is
But-
why I didn't let you do the show by
But
yourself.
I'm saying
tonight.
we could do
I don't
little
trust
breaks.
you.
We could do little breaks. We could have little.
That's true.
We could have little snippets that we could put on the DVD.
Daddy needs the smokes.
We could have just kept you
Spent
locked out
fi-
there.
I spent 5 days with my parents. I now understand. I have a clear understanding as to why I need to quit smoking.
Did you
It's just
smoke the entire time like
Oh,
your
yeah.
parents?
But I watch them one after the other after the other. I can go an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I went an entire plane ride. My mother's sitting there in in Atlanta, there's smoking areas in the terminals, and my parents went off to have one. I was like, well, I'll sit here and watch the luggage.
Yeah.
She comes back, she's like, you want a cigarette? And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to stay focused on the fact that I'm going to be on the plane for 3 hours without one. And she kept saying the word cigarette, cigarette. I was
that's,
like,
not
Mom,
helpful.
please stop saying the word cigarette.
But are you one of those nervous flyers where you don't like being on a plane?
Nope, love it.
So you don't mind that?
No,
It was just
it's the
fact
thought
that
of
you didn't want to have a
being-
cigarette. Okay.
And that's the other thing, is I got to quit, because if we were on the tarmac for 4 or 5 hours, I'd be sitting there licking my fingers going, oh, I can still taste it. There you go,
You
yeah.
should just get like the gum for those cases.
And you know, I've got it at
Chew
home.
the gum.
I've
Just
got
chew
it.
the gum
I got
in
to see
those
this one.
cases.
I got to see
Yeah.
this one and have him do the
Hope it works.
hypnotherapy.
Hope
right.
that you're
Yes.
hypnotizable.
Hypnotizable.
Yes.
Have you been hypnotized? You already hypnotized them to do something already? You've already tested them? You did the
Yes.
rubber band test or whatever it
He
is
says-
there.
He
Maybe.
says the word
Yeah.
porcupine, and I
Ooh!
start dropping my tray.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to be back next Sunday. We're going to be televised again, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Glenn's saying yes. Glenn is giving us the thumbs up. So
Maybe we'll have little
we will be
vignettes
back
we can put on.
the Sunday, the day after St. Patty's Day. So
I think we should make it a drinking show. Wait, you don't drink anymore.
I don't
We can't
drink.
have a We could have O'Doul's.
And that's Irish.
That's Irish.
It's got an O in it. O'Doul's.
We could have a drinking show.
Yeah. And then, well, before that, Friday, March 16th, Matt and I will be joining Glenn for his St. Patty's Day edition of We Let It Large Gone Global, 8 p.m., ipmnation.com. 8 p.m. Daylight Savings Time now.
Yes.
As of today, we're in Daylight
Eastern Daylight
Savings.
Time.
Yes.
Eastern Daylight Time. We'll probably be wearing green, I'm sure. He's going to make us wear green. Are you going to wear green?
I don't have anything green.
Okay. And he's saying yes.
Maybe
He's
I'll
saying
wear-
yes back there.
Maybe I'll wear a plants.
So we'll have the St. Patty's Day edition. I'm sure we'll be talking more and more about primaries and caucuses on Friday night's edition. And Sunday will be the hangover edition.
Hangover edition.
Sitting there with the bloodshot eyes.
We'll have some corned beef and cabbage.
Yes,
We'll have
we are
some,
having corned beef and cabbage on our show.
You're having
Alright.
corned beef and cabbage on your Friday show.
They are.
Excellent.
We'll cook all day.
A little boiled dinner. Look at that. That's what I had on Thursday night. It was
Shamrock
really
shakes. We're making our
Shamrock shakes.
I like the sound of that.
So thank you all, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Catch the replay as soon as it's available. There'll also be the podcast version, just the audio version,
Which you can download.
which you can download. Get our numbers up. We're number 3.
Number 3.
I'm happy with number 3.
What are we behind right now? The meltdown.
Meltdown.
Local outbreak
Yeah,
and the
local
meltdown,
outbreak.
yeah.
We got to take that Matt Connerton down.
So the meltdown's at number 2.
Yes.
Wow.
But yeah, we'll continue doing this as long as you people will watch it. We'll continue televising. That's basically the best way I can put it.
If you
All right.
We'll continue playing. Okay.
Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Yes.
If our sexiness doesn't turn them,
But we gained extra viewers, right? So we got new viewers, so that's always
yeah, but your mom doesn't count.
that. Well, I don't think she even knows the show's on the air. I don't think
2 years and running.
And your dad's conjoined twin doesn't count either because he's dead.
No, so
Yeah.
that's,
So we don't count those ratings. All right, so we'll see everyone next Sunday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I have to remember that now because Matt will correct me every time I
we
say
lost
it.
an hour.
In the meantime, while we're off air, you can always contact us at ve@ipmnation.com and facebook.com, verbal space ejac. We will catch you all next week. Thank you all, and have fun.